Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this very last PreDrupa live event. This is our fourth. Last time didn't went so well because even though that we bought all the data you can buy in Casablanca in Morocco, it is not always the same as being home or being at the office. So this time it should hopefully work. I think we have a very exciting program ahead of us today. But before we start, I just want to give you a little bit of background for what we have been doing, and then you can stay tuned for it, because in 5, 6, 7 minutes or so we will have our first guest, which is Matthew Faulkner from Canon, and that will be exciting in a second. But just about the technical side here, we are broadcasting on LinkedIn, on English TV, on YouTube and Facebook, and you can ask questions in the chats on all the websites if you are interested during the show, and I will see if we can get the questions answered, or at least we can address them at some point, either now or later. Always interesting to have an engagement with our audience, so please do that. So everybody knows that Drupa is now 8 years ago since it was cancelled in 20 because of, let's say, the aftershock effects of the COVID. It caused a lot of, let's say, interesting moments in the industry, because I think that people had great expectations for it. Now, 2024 edition is only 2 weeks away from now, so of course it will be super interesting for all of us that are going there to see what the industry has brought to us. I want to tell you a little bit about the journey that we have been on. We started planning Drupa almost a year ago, so I think that we are just as excited as every vendor and every visitor going to Drupa. We started with the consideration, shall we at all go? Because it is a very expensive venue. It is a lot of days, and we thought about, okay, how can we do this in a way that makes sense to anybody, basically, from a financial perspective, and could we cover it enough, and all those kind of things. So it started actually that we did a physical printed brochure called the PreDrupa2024, and started to think about what should we show. So first of all, I mean, we are people, so it's always about a matter about talking about all the people in the industry. And then we thought that content is also extremely important for everybody, and so we started saying that, okay, maybe you can see it very briefly. I know it's a little bit blurred, but we thought, okay, let's invite some of the high-ranked people in the industry to give their views on what's to expect to see. So we have Montserrat Petro. She's today a member of the board of Bobst, but she used to work with I think it was both with HB, but also with Heidelberg at least. Then we have Ulrich Stetter. He is the president of Intergraph, but he is also the CEO of Druckhaus Mainfranken, which is part of the Fly Alarm Group. Then we have Anthony Thirlby from the UK. He is the master of being one of the most efficient printers in the world, and is now working as a consultant, helping other printing companies to become. So we thought it could be interesting to have him on board. Then we have François Martin. He is very interested in sustainability. He now works as a consultant for HP, but all these people can, of course, not talk about the companies they work for, so they have to be creative and find some. Then we have John Summers, who is the third generation of Allied Printing in the US, and we have a very well-known person and friend, Paul Hudson from Hudson Printing in Salt Lake City. And last but not least, we have Sarah Kilkeon from the UK talking about what they really like to see and what technology we want to show you on English. That is editorial, so there's no sponsors. Then we also have another thing that is also part of our daily thing here. We call it Bonjour. 11 days where we have people coming in for a croissant and a coffee, and it's a little bit more like a casual show. We started it at I think it was Pretty United. We did it the first time with Deborah Korn and Pat McGrew, and Pat McGrew will also be the host at some of these bonjours. And just to put in perspective, we have on the first day, we have Dr. Andreas Pleske, who is the chairman of the board for Drupa. We have still not found anybody who can be his second. So if you're interested, let me know. But we are pre-recording this on the 27th because of everybody's very busy on the 28th, obviously. Then we have Annette Friskop from HP with Daniel Ernie from Hunkler. We also did that at Hunkler Innovation Days. Very casual, very nice, and very entertaining and educational at the same time. We have Ralf Samek and Christoph Gamper. We have Julie Watson and Yasu Taketsuku from Horizon and Ultimate. We have Jennifer Kolacek, who has also been part of our PreDrupas from Canon. We have Volker Leonhardt from Müller Martini, Diego Diaz from HP, Jordi Girald from Karma, Eric Norman from Swiss Qprint, Tim Sturback from IST, and I could continue, right? So you can imagine that there's a lot of really, really interesting people on the show, and we have more than 300 films and episodes and interviews that are planned around Drupa. So if you're not a Drupa, I think that Inkish will be, and our content group partners will be the best places to get up to date on what is going on in the industry. I also want to show you that we have actually yesterday on LinkedIn started to push a little bit about the program. This is just a tiny little thing of this. So go to our LinkedIn page and see what we are planning together with our partners. It is, in my opinion, an amazing program that will give you so much insight, both on the technology side, on the business side, on topics like sustainability, IoT, robots, workflow automation. I mean, we have covered everything. So that is super nice. We are also producing our Inkish In-Flight magazine. That's 144 pages printed, good old-fashioned printed magazine. But we also deliver that as a file. So in case you want to sit in the plane and read about what to expect from Drupa, you can just order a free copy on our website. And secondly, which is I thought was a great idea, only a few have signed up for it, but we thought it was great, because you can order a physical printed copy for 15 euros delivered directly at your hotel on the day where you check in. So that is just a few of the things that we have been working on for a long time, and we are super excited about Drupa taking place in 2 weeks, guys. So I hope you will be there and be as excited as we are. And of course, the most important thing at Drupa is, I would say, besides the networking, is obviously to see a lot of technology. And with that said, shouldn't we just dig a little bit directly into it and welcome our first guest, Matthew? Before saying hello to him, I have made a little introduction to him. So see you in a second. Good morning, Matthew. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, Mos. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, and I hope that you can feel that I'm excited. I'm excited about meeting you. I'm excited about Drupa being around the corner. I think all of us have been working so hard, so now we want to go there, right?
No, it's like, yeah, as you said, it's 2 weeks away, and you can. It's now is the time where you want to be on site to really start the work. And yeah, no, it's fantastic. But I love the printed assets you're creating, the magazines and the other content. It's really nice to see that physical the physical print working. So.
I will come and give you one copy personally, because there is actually, I think also from a Canon perspective, we have no, I mean, everything is editorial content, so it's not like any paid content. We have a few advertisers in it, but what I think you will like is we have the history of inkjet, and I don't know if the audience know that, but it's super interesting to think of that Canon and HP at the same time, independently from each other, invented what at that time was called the bubble jet or inkjet. And I think that is, that's a long time ago, but just think where it is today. And Matthew, you work with it every day. So how is it for you to think about inkjet, how important it is in the industry these days?
No, absolutely. It's an amazing technology that its versatility has grown incredibly. When I think about when I first started in print, the early days of digital, those first what we'd call the roll top inkjet printers, the large format printers. Yeah, and you see the development of now what you can physically print with inkjet. It's almost limitless, and I think that means new business models, new applications. Yeah, so it's. I know there are many stories about the invention of the bubble jet with the soldering iron left on a tube that was then exposed the ability of ink to be jetted with heat. So I think it's come a long way since those years ago.
I mean, that is of course like one thing, but I can't help think about that when you work in the wide format and the large format segment, and with the UV gel, and now today also your ability to make both the gloss varnish and the matte varnishes in one single workflow is. And when you look at the output and the speed of these machines, you cannot be much but excited about it, right?
Yeah, no, all the time, these innovations are extending the ability of digital print to be able to support customers' print volumes. So, on the standard drupa, we're showing examples of interior decor that is probably print volumes that wouldn't exist without digital print, because you can now do it in very short runs, with examples of our customers who are using artificial intelligence to create the designs for interior decor, because decor is one of those industries in a very positive sense. It's seasonal, it's always changing, there's always new trends. So to be first to market with quality content is really important, and then of course that then flows into the digital print. But equally with packaging, less than 2% of packaging worldwide is produced digitally. So a huge opportunity, and with faster and faster digital print through inkjet, now those print volumes can benefit from digital print on demand. So short runs for tests, for versioning, for customization, for packaging to be part of a communications channel. So not just a boring brown box that ships your e-commerce package, but something that becomes a communications touch point for a brand with their customers, whether that's an unboxing experience or just part of a communication that makes offers and enhances the feeling we have about a choice we've made or a purchase we've made that has happened remotely.
I can't help think about, because I remember when commercial printers started to invest in large format printers, it was like almost like a business venture that was like, whoa, we can make so much money, and I think that also the OEMs were very happy with all the machines that they could sell to the market, and then I think there came a little bit like commoditization of the print, and maybe I think that maybe volume stabilized a little bit, and those kind of things. Do you still see growth in the market? Do you still see a lot of potential profitability for the potential customers also investing in Canon equipment?
For sure. It's a growth market. You look at, if I look at some of the research that Keypoint did, I think firstly for the FESPA census they produced last year, I think interesting, you mentioned commercial printers. And what that FESPA census showed was that a couple of years before, about less than 50% of commercial printers owned wide format equipment. So those printing pages. And you can imagine often that would be a large format printer in the corner somewhere, which would perhaps produce posters as part of a client campaign. But actually the FESPA census showed that now it's more than 60% of commercial printers have invested in wide format equipment somewhere. And I think that suggests a need or a desire to diversify and to be able to be more of a one-stop shop for their clients, to be able to produce a campaign that goes from both, could be printed direct mail, could be sales assets, right through to the posters and perhaps, point of sale and signage. So we definitely see that as a trend. So even in our, what you could say, core applications within display graphics, the retail, the exhibition, there's growth there as retailers, for example, fight for footfall, and they have the famous omni-channel, virtual communications, but also getting people in store. And how is this a seamless feeling and looking experience? And I think as well as that is the growth in new print volume opportunities, the interior decor, for retail, for home, businesses, but also packaging as well. So a great mixture of lots of opportunities. So wherever a printer is today, they could grow their print volumes in the same areas they operate, knowing that there are opportunities in core segments, but also to be able to look to diversify. With my skills and resources that I have in-house, how can I perhaps think about new business models or new applications areas as well?
Do you, because I take that you visit a lot of your customers and get a lot of feedback from the market. Do you also see a trend towards like in commercial space, we have seen web to print solutions handling like a commercial type of products online? Is that also a trend that you see in a large format?
I think there's a big recognition that automation and workflows will be really important. I think you look at the skills shortage, you look at all businesses that have to do more with less resources and to be more efficient, then automation is one way to do that. At the front of your opportunity with a customer, that web to print could be the right way for you to go, whether that's a private service where it's used for submitting jobs between your existing clients, or it's a public service where you have a web shop. So there's a whole load of opportunities, but I think definitely the automation, and particularly I think in personalized workflows, I think one of the things that is a big consideration when producing personalization is the logistics in-house. How do you make sure that the right personalized items go to the right clients and customers when you're doing versioning? And that takes organization, it takes automation, but also just the space and the layout of your operation. So I think efficiency and those kind of workflows are a big focus, as well as the technology and the applications areas that they apply to.
Matthew, I can see that the screen behind you, that is obviously your booth from Drupa. You are in the large format space, so you of course takes the 90% of the entire booth, right?
Yeah, I would say it's more 50-50 with our colleagues from the small format. But yeah, we have
that's unfair, isn't it?
To be able to produce some amazing applications, but also the technologies that we're showing our whole production print portfolio, which is really a fantastic thing. And for my part, I'm responsible on the Drupa stand for what we're calling the core. Which is right at the center of the stand, which is an immersive sensory experience. So 7.5 minutes long, and for us it tells the story of the Power to Print, which is our new campaign. And the Power to Print for us is about two things. The power to move, it's about print's power to be able to move emotionally, but also about print's power to be able to help transform a business. And in this theatre in the centre of the stand, we'll tell that story. We know print can tell stories, it can communicate, it can cut through the digital fatigue in an emotional way. But it can also bring new innovations, new business models, new technologies that help transform a business as it moves forward. And I think, if I think about that emotional part, in the print industry, we know a lot about the effectiveness of print, and we all use lots of stats that, print stays in the home longer for 20 days more than an email, which is really fleeting. You remember more when you read something in print than when you read it on screen. But I think for us, what's really important to understand is, why is that the case? And getting behind those stats to really understand. And it enables then brands to think quite differently about the relationship that they have with their customers over a period of time. And it enables print service providers to also be that expert advisor. And if you don't mind, Morton, I'm going to get emotional on you for a second, because
Please.
one of the things that we've looked at in this, I suppose, thinking about customer journeys for brands with their customers, is how you build a relationship when it's at arm's length and it's virtual communications, which could be a mixture of digital and print or solely print. And there was a psychologist in the 1950s called Robert Plutchik who agreed that in psychological terms, there are 4 core emotions. So happiness, sadness, fear, disgust, anger, surprise. But actually, you'd probably agree, it's much more nuanced. Emotions are much more kind of subtle than that. And he proposed this emotional wheel, which is a bit like a color wheel of emotions that are opposite each other, but also that have a relationship to each other. And around the edge of this wheel, there's the lighter touch emotions, so acceptance and boredom and disinterest. But as you go to the middle, there's the much stronger emotions that build up. So if you think about a customer journey that could be one touch point, could be many, they could happen in any order, they could be at any time of day or night. You've got no control over a customer journey that perhaps used to be a little bit linear. So why not, as brands, and therefore as printers who can then be the expert consultants in using print in this way, why not think about taking our customers on a journey that builds positively, so from acceptance through to trust and then into real admiration, because you then cultivate, brand fans of your business, and at all times avoiding the negative emotions. Let's not take our customers on a journey of boredom, disgust, and loathing. That would be a negative. Because when we can think in this way, it enables, for example, virtual communications to go from being very meaningful. If they're meaningful, they're timely, they're appropriate, relevant, and thoughtful. A virtual communication, like a direct mail, can then be really impactful. Someone's thought about me, they know what my interests and preferences are, and I've now got an offer that really is interesting, and I'm going to take action. And I think when you do that, we know so much about our customers today that it's possible to create these really smooth and kind of intimate customer journeys. And I think that, to me, is something that marketeers of a few years ago could only have dreamt of. And when it's done well, it becomes a really powerful thing. In the same way, if we think about... Sorry, go ahead, Martin.
No, I was just, so that is also some of the things where when people go to Drupa, they will have the chance to talk to you and your team about, let's say, the emotional thing. And I think it makes perfect sense when you also have the tactile kind of experience with what you can print today. It makes perfect sense, right?
No, exactly, yeah. So in the core, we're going to use a version of our World Unseen campaign, which was that exhibition for the blind and visually impaired, which was about how can anybody should be able to experience imagery, no matter what their level of sight, not just the sighted. So we created this tactile experience that enables us to tell those stories through touch. And in the core, we'll have that World Unseen as part of that, but actually in a way that it's not possible to experience anywhere outside of Drupa. And then I think the same, if you then apply the power to move to physical and experiential. If you go into a retail store, it needs to be comfortable, frictionless, inviting, helpful. And it sounds really obvious to be criteria for a retail environment, but actually, how many times have you been in a shop, you can't find what you're looking for, there's no one to ask, the signage and wayfinding is not helping you. And there's also a principle, if we go back to getting behind why is a journey frictionless and comfortable when others are frustrating and otherwise, in a physical environment like retail, there's a lot of it is to do with our evolutionary hardwiring. And it's why I've got a picture of the savannah in this meeting room, kind of war graphics. But actually, it's been proved that in pre-human history, when we were literally pre-humans coming down from the trees. It was a stressful era. And what we looked for is two things. One is refuge and one is prospect. So refuge means, do I feel safe? Could I find safety? In this savanna image, I could find safety up the tree if I was being chased by a saber-toothed tiger or something. But actually prospect, in our outlook, we look for, do I have the things that could sustain me? Now, obviously, consciously today, when we go into a retail store or a hotel, we don't think refuge and prospect, but it's in our evolutionary hardwiring. So actually, unconsciously, we do look for those things. So the next time you're paying 50 euros extra for a sea view in a hotel room, it's not because it's pretty. Our conscious brain says it's pretty, but actually it gives us comfort that we have this outlook. And when you understand these kind of effects on our brain and how we are comfortable in a space, and therefore what makes it productive in an office sense, what makes it productive in the way I'm happy to make a purchase in a retail store, when you get behind that, and as a print service provider, you can then start to think for your clients that in this new decor print volumes, you can help them with some of these concepts. And they're fairly common environmental studies, but you say, Morten, it's something that we'll have on the stand as these discussions, because it becomes a very powerful thing about how you think about the applications you print, how you design the spaces, how you design the communications. And it's a really interesting way to look at this as a printer who can advise their clients.
I must say that I'm very intrigued about what you have said. And if I look a little bit around from time to time, it's because it's a one-man army, so I have to take care of the next guest and the technology and does the camera work, does the streaming work. So sorry for that, but I listened to everything. And Matthew, I think it was a super good introduction and a very good reason for people to go and talk to you and your team at Drupa. I want to compliment you also for your booth. I think it looks super nice. And as always, Canon is one of the companies that also show applications on the edge of what most people do. So I always think that is a good inspiration to go and see and touch, as you say, and learn from you guys. So I want to say thank you very much for your time here. And now I have to throw you out because we have a dense program today, as you know. So I would like to talk to the next guest in after this little jingle. So thank you very much, Matthew, and see you soon at Drupa.
Thanks, Morten. See you soon. Cheers.
Good morning, Matthias. Good to see you.
Hi, Morten. Good to see you.
So you were thrown into last minute yesterday because Jordi thought that his face was a little bit too saturated, right?
Yes.
I don't know if it's the right word, but it's still a little bit funny, right?
Yeah.
So welcome here. It's the first time that you are on one of our shows, and as you can see, we try to run it as a smooth television program. So great to see you. Before we get started with, because I have some things I would like to talk to you about, please introduce yourself and Karma.
Yes, so my name is Matthias Miederer. I started to work for Karma beginning of this year as the head of product management, and I'm responsible to strengthen the link between our sales and our development department. We have a really strong development department. We have worldwide sales, and it's important to keep this link as good intact as possible. So this is my task. To introduce Karma, we are a post-press finishing solution supplier, and we have a focus for tailored solutions for short to medium run finishing to have here really efficient solutions, let's say targeting on the digital printing market.
That sounds great. I want to make it even more visual for people. So because Not so long a time ago, I was visiting one of your customers' studio on fire, and just look at this, dear ladies and gentlemen, and then see what happens if you open it. You get something that can only be made on on a very good equipment and very funny and very beautiful. So we are in the business where you can basically add value to your products, so you can make more money when you sell them. Is that a good short explanation?
This is absolutely right. So also for me, arriving at Karma and talking to our customers, I can see that there's really many people out there happy about the solutions fitting for their needs to add embellishment, as you say, to the finishing, to add value to the finishing. We somehow like to say, like the ProCut, it's kind of a chameleon. Wherever you place this machine, it will fit in, it will blend in perfectly to help our customers to fulfill their needs in finishing, to add value to their customers, to do their actual jobs, but in the end to also offer more things to their customers and to gain new jobs in the end.
You, as you said, you started working for Karma not so long a time ago. I mean, how is it to work with such an old company?
It's an old company, yes, but that doesn't mean that there are old people. So it's a nice team. I really enjoy working for Karma. It's great to see all the smart minds, let's say, there, also in the R&D department. It's great. I'm also a mechanical engineer, so I love technology, I love innovations, and it's great to see all these people working on new ideas, always making the products we have better, and of course to work on really nice new projects.
I have specific questions because I think it could be interesting, because I showed this one from Studio on Fire, which is they make boxes for all types of boxes. But before we go into the Flex folder, which is a super interesting product, one of the things I believe that it will not be shown at Drupa but talked about at Drupa is your new Hammerhead digital embellishment machine capable of doing both the coatings and or varnishes and also metallization. Can you just bring people a little bit up to speed? What is it? And then we will talk about the Flex folder.
Yeah. So the idea of the Hammerhead, you already shared the name, is that we want to really bring the offering not only of the conventional side of die cutting, folding and gluing, but also for the digital embellishment side, so that we can be a provider fulfilling all the needs from the conventional to digital embellishment, and all of that, of course, fitting together perfectly. And with the Hammerhead, we have built a machine on, let's say, the heritage of Karma, building solid, robust machines. So we want to continue with this also for the digital side, so that we have a solution that is on the one side really efficient for the digital foiling, for the digital varnish, but on the other side, it keeps the robustness, the stability you need to have an industrial production for multiple shifts. And with the Hammerhead, we have a few main goals. So I already mentioned efficiency, and this not only means efficiency in setting up jobs with a high level of automation, but of course also efficiency with the materials you use with it. We have a foil saving system in there to make sure the consumption of the consumables is as low as possible, because even if it's a digital process, we want to make sure the products add value without making them really expensive, so that you have a product you can sell and where you can make a good market with it. And that's about the efficiency. It's about the speed, to have a really high speed, to have also, of course, a good output with the machine, and all of that with a superior quality. I already mentioned our team of R&D bringing always new innovations, and also with the Hammerhead, we have many details in there, some being patented by us to have a different approach for digital embellishment. And that's the piece we bring to bring superior quality to this embellishment.
One of the things I think I read in some statement that you did was that it's both a B2 and a B1 machine, and it's also quite fast. Maybe you just mentioned that because everybody talks about efficiency, but when the day is over, it's also a matter, can you use it in an analog world, or is it only for digital, or what are the sheet sizes? Can you just bring that up to speed as well?
So the platform was built to be ready so it's a B2 platform ready for B1. The standard configuration, let's say, is a B2 machine with 5,700 sheets per hour. And then you can equip this same machine with a different feeder, and it's already prepared to run then B1 sheets in the landscape. And that makes it quite flexible. So you have one platform you can use for the B2 and for the B1 at high speeds.
Smart. A little bit maybe a question that I don't know if you can answer this or will answer it, but there are other players in the market for digital embellishment, and with all respect for all of them, I have never really thought of the digital embellishment as being a huge market. Is it because you are have a belief that in the future there will be a higher and higher demand for digital, or is it just because it fits into, let's say, in more like niche productions that also maybe sometimes Karma without the right, I think, but sometimes it's seen maybe a little bit more like a niche production. How do you see the potentials for a product like the Hammerhead?
Digital embellishment, maybe comparing it to the digital printing, is growing slowly. So the first solutions are there for quite many years now, but of course the market needs to adapt. It's always a long process. Just to have a solution, it's not already used by the full market. You need to slowly introduce this to the graphic designers. Without the graphic designers implementing that in the first place, there will not be a need. So we see that as a growing piece, which is at the moment reaching, let's say, a real nice level. So we have different solutions in the market, which is of course also good for us, because we want to have competitors out there. We want to be in a competitive environment where we can really excel with our solutions. And the digital embellishment can be seen as in two different ways. Of course, you have the digital aspect, making it flexible, bringing all the variable elements. You need no tools for your embellishment.
100%.
And on the other side, it's also a different embellishment. So you cannot compare that to hot stamping. Hot stamping is a different effect than digital embellishment. So it's a new way to add value to your products.
Let's move to the flex folder. We don't have so much time, but one of the things I like about the flex folder, and for people that doesn't know, this is Karma's really super smart folding gluer machine that is capable of, I can't remember the speed, you tell me in a second, but what is really smart about it is that all the setup is done by servo motors. So that basically means that it's simply click a button, and then you have, within a few minutes, you have a setup that can do wonderful folding glued boxes, but it also has a built-in braille functionality that is extremely suitable for pharmaceutical productions. What did I miss?
So you're absolutely right. So this is a machine which is made for a high level of automation with a fully automatic format setting to really target this market of short to medium runs, where you cannot spend a lot of time to set up jobs. For example, we offer a 5-minute job changeover from a straight line box to a different one, or 8-minute job changeover from a straight line one to an automatic lock button box. So that's a really fast setup time, and with that you have a high efficiency, and that actually is one piece, and then together with the Pro Cut, you can have really efficient finishing from cutting to folding and gluing, bringing some options with it, as you mentioned, the braille, to to be ready for the pharma market with an inspection system, a 100% inspection system. And that actually is a good, let's say, step to come to another piece we want to show at Drupa. Matthew already mentioned in the last previous session here about the importance of automation. And as mentioned, our solutions are ready for a high level of automation, but we also see the need to bring this to a next step. And therefore, we work on a new piece of automation, and that means the automation of the full workflow from the printed sheet to the finished folded and glued box.
Just before we go into our next guest, I know it's short and dense, but that is how life is. So just to be sure that people understand that. So when you go to the Karma booth at Drupa, you can see the ProCard 76, you can see the Flex folder, you can see videos and samples of the Hammerhead, and you can see animations of the new robot solutions that you're talking about, right? Is that that wraps pretty much up what people can? And then I know that of course you want to talk to people, because I think that Karma is a company that delivers really smart solutions, but I'm not so sure that so many people knows about it. So it's really great that you had time to explain a little bit here on English. And Matthias, I look forward to see you at Drupa in just 2 weeks, right?
Yes, was great to talk to you, Morten, and see you soon.
Definitely. And with that said, a little jingle, and then we have Tim Sturback from IST Metz here in just a few moments. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Good morning, Tim. Good to see you.
Good morning, Morten. How are you?
I'm busy. I'm at work, you know.
Right. Yeah, I'm sailing here, right? The boat, and let's see where it ends, right? So
that's
yeah,
true. And
nice to see you again. Nice to see you. Great show so far.
Thank you very much. It is always my guest that makes it a great show, and it is also wonderful. And I remember the last time we saw each other, I think that was at breakfast after the non-event, and I don't think we were as fresh as we are today, right?
Oh, I can't remember anymore, right? No. That was a really nice event. The non-event was amazing. Yeah, it was quite astonishing. Really nice talk. So really quite a venue. So I was really pleased that you asked me, right, to do this PreDrupa show again, because it's always really nice talking to you, right? And
likewise, Tim. And yeah, sorry.
But I mean, your shelf in the background is really obvious. So I just want to be curious what's all in that shelf, right?
And that one behind me?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a big mess. My colleague Chika, he always say, I need to go to Denmark and make your settings look better. But I think it's fine for me, at least. I'm a mess head, so why not? Tim, one of the things that is super interesting at Drupa, we're going to talk about Drupa, we're going to talk about IST, is that you are in Hall 1, and you are next to Heidelberg, where you have IST lamps installed on a CX104. You're also working with Weilburger to show off some, let's say, environmental, sustainable kind of coating solutions. What else can we expect from Drupa from IST Metz side?
Oh, fireworks. Honestly, we've been working really a lot to completely renovate, I must say, or re-innovate all our products. So the whole product portfolio is being redesigned, has a lot of innovation incorporated. So I'm really proud of all my employees, of all the employees of IC, that they really pulled that challenge along, so that all products, from the water-cooled, air-cooled lamps to the LEDs, everything is redesigned. And we have a really nice cherry to the cake also to announce, where our engineers and our development department are working really hard to get that up and running, and it is running. So we have an innovation to announce at the Drupa, and we waited to the last sense of time in order to get that also announced. And I just wanted to have this venue here also to see, to tease what is it all about, and give a quick presentation about that. So besides all our products, so there are also new releases on the lamp side. I know there is this mercury ban coming along, but we have, for instance, also a free cure solution being presented, where it's a mercury lamp, a high power UVC mercury lamp, where you don't need inertization anymore, for instance, or where you don't need any photo initiators anymore. So
Oh, really?
quite huge step forward on the lamp side, but on the other side as well, on the LED side. So it's really amazing. I'm really looking forward to the Drupa. It's my first Drupa, right? So, and 8 years ago, I think everyone is really looking forward. Yeah.
When you say redesign of a lamp, I think that, okay, maybe we should just go one step back, Tim. IST Metz is actually quite old company, and you have been in the industry as a family-owned company. You've been in the industry for many years, and as you mentioned with the mercury lamps, of course you are well known and has been used in many different applications. And then everybody's now talking about LED UV. Is it a big market? Is it a small market? What are the technical challenges of creating a lamp? Because I mean, from the outside, I know it's stupid to say, but from the outside, it's just a lamp that has some purple lights, right?
Exactly. But the really trick is the heat management and also the durability of the glass itself, right? So, and we produce the lamp by ourselves, or our sister or daughter company is doing that here right across the street, which we are really proud of. So, and we are really proud of the quality. So that's the longest lifespan of those lamps. So we have all the production knowledge on board, and therefore we can also redevelop and develop even further. So that's hopefully our advantage. And we see also application where LED is not there yet. It might come in the near future, midterm future, long-term future. We are obviously preparing for that. But on the other hand, there are still a lot of and plenty application out there where you might need the power of a UV lamp, mercury lamp, and therefore driving, for instance, with the free cure development, as well as our own eximers, right? We have now also our own eximers. So two eximer solution where we have a high power solution and a normal power solution one. And we see also a huge market for that, for instance, in the electronic markets as well.
So when you talk about redesigning these lamps, is that like, it's not just the housing, I guess. Is it also from the technical perspective that you talk about? Because I think that everybody's looking for solutions that can be, let's say, more sustainable or less energy and those kind. Is that the direction that you're looking into, or?
100%, Martin, 100%. So everyone is really talking about efficiency and how you can drive efficiency higher, getting lower CO2 emission and your carbon footprint, to lower your carbon footprint. And therefore, obviously, quite frankly, the lamp, I mean, you have a really minimum quantity of mercury in it, but you can 100% recycle a UV lamp, right? I mean, it's just, some diodes, and you have the glass, the framing, and then you have a little mercury drop, and that's it. And then you can 100% recycle everything. So from that point of view, from a footprint point of view, it's also an interesting idea, right? So, and all, as I said, the design is literally trying to get those lamps more efficient, having a better heating system. So we're fine-tuning, or have been fine-tuned, all the products, and that's absolutely modern.
When a guest is attending Drupa and see, of course, the installment on the Heidelberg machine, but also the collaboration, I know that you are using a super brand to show off some. I don't know if I can mention that, so I will not say the name. You can do it if you are allowed to. You have told me, but Andreas told me, but I don't know if it can be so. But I was just wondering, because I mean, if people are looking at the different lamps available today, why should they choose an IST solution? I mean, because it's light, right?
Yeah, I mean, we are arguing, right, that we try to find the best solution for our customers, yeah, and the best solution is the perfect product for the application, yeah, and that
So the
means
lamps are very much designed to whether it's flexo or commercial and the speed of commercial, and so you can, let's say, optimize the technology depending on the application as well. That's what I hear, right?
exactly. Yeah, and that's the challenge, right? To try to stay in the best value proposition, and meaning kind of being in a standardization and a modularization world where we're driving our business now to, but also have a applicable or a adjusted product or solution for our customers, right? And trying to build with a Lego brick system, for instance, as a algorithm to show using different kind of modules and solutions to try really fit our customers' needs the best.
Sounds interesting. And so when people go to the booth, it is talking to say that let's say I have this issue, or I mean, you can have example. I have these mercury lamps for this type of application. I would like to replace them, or coming to your booth saying that today we are using gas to dry our web press. We would like to find an alternative. Talk to you about that. Or I'm a flexo printer that would like to have curing, LED curing on my flexo press. I mean, is that the conversation? Do they start like this, or how do they start?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have a question regarding they try to find a solution for the problem, right, and for the challenge exactly. So, and then usually it starts like this, so that we see, okay, we have an old press or a midterm press or as you said, a gas oven. Can I just reconfigure with lamp or with LED, right, or with excimer for instance, and therefore we're there, right, in order to design for those needs, and having a perfect solution for our customers in that sense. And therefore, I mean, you could look at our product portfolio and then you could also argue, maybe that's a little bit too wide and too broad. But we would like to keep it that way because we see there is a specific need for specific customers, and that's very important for us to serve, to have the best solution, and especially when it comes to efficiency levels, right? Because if you have just one lamp for every application, you cannot be that efficient and that optimized for that different application. And evolving in those markets where efficiency of everything, I mean, if it's a commodity to cure and to process that application, yes, tick in the box, it works. But then you have to have it the most efficient as possible, right?
Makes sense. And Tim, I know it's your first drupa, right?
It is. Yeah, I'm really looking forward. It's cool, and I mean, we have such a huge booth. I mean, we're in Hall 1 at 824, I guess, is the booth, and right before or accompanied by Heidelberg, right? And our head of marketing has done a really great job in designing this whole booth. It will be really exciting. Yeah.
So I guess that if people come to drupa, they should definitely go and see your booth, of course, but maybe they should also take you for a walk so you can see the rest of it, right?
Oh yeah, please do so. Just invite me and get some information, or just share some information. Yeah.
Fantastic. Anything else you want to share? Because I tried to make you say.
I have a quick presentation, honestly, just to share some of this revolution innovation.
Yeah, but that's fine, and let's do that, because I can tell also the audience that we were supposed to have Yasuo Toketsuku from Japan joining us, but I can't get hold of him, so I don't know if I missed something. So we have a little bit more time, Tim. So take it away.
Okay, cool. So let's share my screen here. Okay, let's try to get that up and running.
Here we go.
Cool. That's working. So I have my hypnotize ring, right? So I just wanted to hypnotize everybody here in that.
Buy more, right?
And buy IST, right?
Yeah.
So no, quickly ramping up some challenges we face, right? We just talked about, we have increasing costs. We have the CO2 footprint everyone is working or talking about. We have the lack of skilled workers, right? In the printing industry, also from us, know-how drain. So that means also the control of the curing system is not optimal. We have function and features in our system which are not being used in the field. We see 100% power of our dryers. We see format switching not being used in the LED world, right? We see dimming functions not being used. As I said, 100% always just power on that level. And then we have concluded services, inefficient service calls, because maybe the customer does not really know and understand the system itself, right? And last but not least, we have ink systems, various ink system and coating system with different reactivities, and different price levels, etc. And we understood that these challenges, how could we solve these challenges? And we were really discussing in our pre-development department and in our development department how we can solve this. And now we have a solution, and we call that Smart Cure. And obviously, what is Smart Cure? Everyone is talking about AI, and we have now implemented that one to our system. It's an AI-driven system for a perfect utilization of our system. So we're talking about optimum instead of maximum. And what does this do? I just show you quickly a printing press, for instance, where we have different color schemes, and we have automatically parameter, for instance, deriving from the JDF data file or manually, where we see, okay, what kind of format is being printed, what kind of colors at what kind of stations are being printed. And we know exactly from our pre-testing, from our development, what kind of dose, what kind of power our curing system might need. And therefore, we can completely automatically adjust the performance and the power level of each lamp or LED head per printing press. And that would mean a additional saving to, for instance, LED, an additional up to 30% of this whole system. So we can really steer now all our dryers by our IST cloud in order to get the perfect efficiency level to the lamps. And that brings basically a complete new world of energy savings and also a monitoring of the systems. So the controlling, processing, and computing in our IST cloud enable literally the reduction of electrical power, as I said, the format-depending switching, the prediction of the production speed, the calculation of energy savings, and last but not least, the maximizing of product lifetime. Because if I reduce the performance, the power of the lamps to the needed one, to the most efficient one, so I can really maximize the product lifetime, the LED product lifetime, the lamp lifetime. I can reduce, for instance, inertization if I have inertization in the system to the perfect amount. So all in all, it's a complete automatic automatic system in order to get the drying as efficient as possible. And to summarize all of it, as maybe everybody knows already, we as IST love UV, and please come to our booth, and we can talk about that new system where it will be implemented to all our lamp and LED products in the near future.
Wow, it sounds like that you have tried this before, Tim, right? Hang on a second, I just need to add you here. Sounds like you have tried this presentation before, or is that just is that what you do? Okay, so now I know what managing directors do. They are just professional presenters. Okay, great to know.
Thank you very much.
But so this is like that is quite new way of thinking, isn't it?
It's revolutionary. I mean, I'm super proud that we could pull this off, because I mean, we have a new UV technology campus where I invested last year quite a lot of analytics in that campus, and that made the fundamentals in order to get such a system up and running, because we are trying and testing all the inks, the coatings on the market, getting it aligned with all our lamps, etc. Writing the algorithm, the AI behind that whole idea, and putting that all into a cloud solution. So it's quite some cool topic, and we have patented it. So hopefully it will really bring us a step ahead of our competition, and also the idea in the printing world.
And how long? I mean, maybe a stupid question, but when you start developing things like this, how long time does it take from, let's say, that you get started to you have something that you can present?
For that specific, it's a 1 year
Okay.
investigations and development process. Absolutely.
It's in a way quite amazing that it takes so long time, right? Because I mean, it is of course a lot of work going into it, but still it's like quite a lot of money that is need to be allocated. And I guess that in the beginning you never know, is this the right direction, right? You have to say, okay, idea is great, let's continue and see what happens, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's basically also my job, right? To push and strive and being optimistic that our employees can pull that off, and they did. Yeah, because the development is rather and the competition out there, right? And that's really a pity. So a lot of our talking curing is just a commodity, and it's not, right. So because you need to really understand the process behind and really understand what kind of products are being cured there, right? So it's not just all about having a dryer or having an LED system. You need really to understand and try to get, as I said, the best solution for the customer. And I hope with this AI-driven system, and we will bring also this world closer together.
It was a super great presentation. It doesn't seem that Yasuo from Horizon in Japan got my message. Everything was a little bit late yesterday because everybody is extremely busy with Drupa, so that is what happens here. Tobias from Wirbelwild, I can see that you're online, so I will jump to you with this little introduction here. And Tim, thank you, and see you at Drupa, and I of course also hope to see you at the next non-event, which is on December 4th and 5th. So, but you will get an invite soon.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it, Martin.
All right,
the best.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to English, Tobias.
Thank you, Martin. Nice to meet you.
Thanks
for having me.
I mean, it's a never a shame to get on English. When you sent me a message saying that I forgot to talk about the most innovative disruptor in the industry, so you put my expectation relatively high, I would say.
Yeah, maybe, okay.
So I just need to do a little change here. Hang on 2 seconds. So first here you, and then I will be here, because then my lower thirds will fit. It was just like sometimes when you are trying to be the one-man army of everything, then you just need to be sure that it works.
Yeah, it's similar here.
So we are ready. Tobias, before, because I know that you will present something for me today, so before we get started, maybe you could tell a little bit who you are, because when I checked your LinkedIn profile, it seems that you are not just, you're not just like one company. You have a lot of innovations and ideas and companies on your boilerplate, right? So maybe you can give me a little introduction to who you are.
Yeah, the introduction about myself is basically the same as the company history and everything what we are doing. So you're asking for the whole story right now.
Bring it on, let me hear.
Okay, let's get started. My name is Tobias Köngitter, and I am, together with my wife, owner of the company Wirbelwild, which is located in southern Germany. It turned out that Wirbelwild is a complicated name to recognize, but we thought it would be a good idea initially. It's a play on words between the words whirlwind and the word wild, in German for sure. We have to live with that name right now. I'm coming from the printing industry. I was working as a media designer in prepress for about 10 years when I noticed that a lot of things are constantly repeating. boring on one hand, and on the other hand, risky to make. Specifically, well, to make an example, when you are doing layouts, calendar layouts, where you have to deal with a lot of information every year from new, because you can't take the old information any longer. And I was wondering if we couldn't do better. That was one of my experiences. Another experience was that my wife and I, as creative people who we are, could imagine great printing products, highly individualized, made beautifully, profiting from digitization and using the data which the internet provides us. But we couldn't find software to make that product. And to make it clear, you cannot use InDesign or a Quark Express to do some products like that. And one day we decided to start with our own company and to create the software we needed for ourselves. That has been the start of Wirbelwild. And because we had a lot of wild ideas, that has been the reason to take that name as we did. So this is the short story.
So a background in, I mean, as so many others, you basically start with a need. You can't find what you want already in the market, so therefore you just make it yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that is a good, I guess that is a good way of making sure that you get what you want. Is there also a broader market for this when you now, because how long time have you been delivering your product?
For 8 years now.
For 8 years, okay. So there is a need in the market for it. So you were not alone in that market. That's what you say.
Exactly. But that question wasn't that important for us at the beginning. It was more important for us to have the software we needed for ourselves, because we wanted to be creative and wanted to have possibilities to realize our own ideas. And yeah, for sure, it's better to have other people using our software as well, because it makes it easier for us to earn money.
Of course, yeah. But I was just thinking, because I mean, one thing is that you get an idea, you experience a challenge that you want to solve yourself, and you said that it sounded like that you and your wife are like from the creative side. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you are a programmer. So how did you go on with the development of the software?
The decision was that I needed to learn programming by myself.
Really? Okay. So that is how it got started. So basically, by identifying the problem, you had to get into the study chamber, right?
It was easy for me because I have a huge technical understanding of a software, which made it easy for me to learn that. But yeah, I became a designer that can program now. Yeah, that was the way for us.
And how is the market? Is it mainly in Germany, or do you sell everywhere?
Everywhere. Our first solution was targeting the calendar market. We made a small website where you can configure your calendar data. That was our first try to sell our solutions to others. And that turned out really well. A lot of people were using that solution, and made it easier for us to decide to go that way.
When you reacted to me on LinkedIn the other day, it was because I wrote an article, and I was smiling a little bit when you sent me the message, because it was not really so much an article about disruptors. It was actually more about that disruption sometimes can come from the craziest places that you never expected to come from. So what did you get out of the article, and why did you think it was important for us to talk together? I mean, I like talking to you, of course. I also always like to learn new things, but why do you consider yourself as a disruptor, and why was it important for you to raise your voice on that note?
I have a constant pain because I feel that we are often too small to get recognized. And a lot of people think a small company like us cannot provide stable solutions over a long period. And we always have the fear that larger companies may bring better solutions and have more possibilities to bring their solutions to the people, to the market. That's why I need to react urgently when reading something like that. And when there's a topic about underdogs or maybe hidden solutions.
And that was the idea, and I thought it was great that you reached out, and I think it was even more great that you did it just a few days before this webinar, because now it gives you an opportunity to talk to hopefully a large audience. I think you said to me this morning that you were testing whether a presentation would work. Are you planning to show us what you have done, or what is it? Because I would love to see what you're doing, or is it a PowerPoint or something like that you can show us a little bit about more what you offer?
Yeah. I have a PDF. We have already talked about some of the pages there. We can,
but I mean, why don't you just
right
bring it up, and then I will give you the screen space here, so you can basically, because of that, my friend from Japan that didn't show up, we have a little bit more time. So why not just use it in a good way, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's great for us.
And are you also exhibiting at Drupa, right?
Exactly. We have a large stand in Hall 8B. And because there was so much space left, we decided to take Konica Minolta with us and to give them some
you're
of
so
our
lucky
space.
that you brought them along. That's great. Fantastic. I mean, they must be so pleased with you guys, right?
Yeah, they're really thankful. They will bring some machines and will print whatever we produce live at the Drupa.
Fantastic. But let's see the presentation, and then we can talk about it afterwards a little bit further.
Yeah. So you should see a page about us that is no longer important. We can start with that one here. I was talking about software to reach our goals, to make automatizations, to make individualized printing products. We are always talking about the layout process, not the imposition, the layout a media designer would do, a graphic designer would do. And we wrote a lot of software, and we're using that over years. And then we noticed that our customers were missing a interface for our software. We had a lot of questions about how can I upload my data by myself? How can I start a job by myself? How can I see statistics about the usage of my printing data? And then we decided to create a system with an interface that contains all of our software solutions. And that system is called ManyPrint Solutions. It's like it's written here, a layout automation software running in the cloud, so you can access it through your browser. And the system has some differences. And the differences are why we believe that it is the advanced system currently on the market. Let's have a brief look into it. We are very open when getting data that we want to bring into a printing product. So that's the first column here on the left side. We can import data which our customer own. Maybe they upload a Excel sheet of customer data, but we can also import data from third-party sources. For example, to fetch geographic information, weather information, image information, whatever you can imagine and whatever is available in the internet. In the middle is written dynamic. Our system is dynamic when processing layouts. We don't work with templates, which you have to define earlier. The system works templateless and adapts layout rules. It's similar like a human would work when making a layout. And we can also make decisions about the layout. So we are very flexible about how many pages a product may have, how large it will be, which colors and fonts there will be inside, depending on the rules, depending on what we defined to be allowed. And on the right side, we are open what the output is about. You can create the layouts as printing PDFs, but also files for Adobe InDesign, also HTML files for individualized landing pages or emails, for example. And we can also create videos and audio as well. Here it goes a little bit into detail to make it clearer. Here are a lot of solutions where we can use data from. I don't want to go too deep into detail here. Here is the step about the layout generation. Yeah, I was talking about that. And the data output. Special here is that we are providing or support a lot of software which is used by printing companies. So we can send our printing data directly into the company's workflows, and they can make some imposition, for example, or even send it directly to their machines. And here is one of our products that we will show at the Drupa. This one is called a running diary and is about running. A small brochure which you can order at our stand by giving us your first name, the language you speak, your favorite color, and an address. And we will generate a whole book out of that. Yeah, it's more like a brochure having 32 pages. And there are a lot of special things going on in that book. And one of the most fascinating things are the route recommendations. So based on the location, on the address we got, we make recommendations for 3 different running routes. We tell the people about the distance, the duration, how far you will come. We even show a map of that route, also in the color of the book. That's all generated dynamically in front of your eyes. And what is very special, going even beyond that, is that we also create an individualized video for each route, which you can access over the QR code and the link. And I believe it's a good example why we are talking about printing products that have never been possible before, and why we needed a completely new system for that. Here it's written as well. And the solution, I mentioned it earlier, is available online, so everyone can use it right now. This would be the URL. And my last page, that has been really fast right now, is some personal information about me and where you can find us at the Drupa. We will show more about those products, and I bet it's really fascinating to see what can be possible now.
Wow, that was actually quite interesting. I like that the full personalization experience was like so. As you said, that when you have like this running book and it changes the colors throughout everything, because often when you have like personalized product, you often have to go and pick the elements that you want to personalize or you want to do things. And so what is the pre-press for this preparation for this? Is that like a regular PDF file that you have layered, or is it or how does it actually make it a dynamic product?
Our system generates printing PDFs in that case, and every PDF will be generated completely from scratch.
But I was more thinking of, let's say, the first edition. Let's say that now you I can see I've changed our names. I just changed our Damn it.
Oh yeah. Now I see.
I'm not you, but and you are. So
It's not that important.
now we have the right names on the thing.
What's in the name?
Yeah. Maybe you want to be the editor of English. I mean, you have so many hats, so why not, right? No, Tobias, I was just thinking that when you create the first document where you, let's say that now you want to create a book and you want to have it dynamic, you need to make some kind of initial layout. Is that done in Photoshop, or is it done in InDesign, or you take a PDF file into your solution and then make it dynamic from there? Because I was just thinking that at some point you need to point out what is background color, what is so how do you do that?
We usually start with creating a traditional product using Adobe InDesign.
Yeah.
Where we define really exact the formats we want to use. This need to be really consequent. And when we have the product and the optics we want to have, we can talk about the rules, what may happen, which data can change, the logic, everything what may appear there. And when talking about that step, we need to leave the traditional layout way because InDesign won't help us in that
No,
cases.
I understand that. I was more thinking because, every time you change behavior in any process, it's always like, how do I get to the next step without? But you basically say that the initial phase is that you do the designs as you normally do. When you put it into your software, you basically make the rules for what kind of elements that are affected by personal changes, and then from there it starts generating the variable PDF files that you need for printing. Is that correctly understood, or?
Yeah, basically. We cannot use the data we made initially in our system. We need to transfer that into configuration files.
Okay.
So we
but
need
still
to
easy
define,
to do. But still easy to do.
Not so easy.
Not so easy. Okay.
Those are always tasks we need to do on our side. We have an initial step to create the products inside our system. We call them apps inside our system, and the customers can use the ready and finished apps after that.
Okay, so when people buy and work with you guys, there is a cost of the software, and then there is an initial processing cost, whatever you call it, for transferring a design into. So does that make your company Virtual Wild a little bit of a bottleneck for growth? Because I mean, you need to have a lot of resources if you have a lot of customers, right?
Wouldn't say bottleneck. We have the initial task of creating an app. Yeah, exactly. We try to make the costs as less as possible.
Sure.
Make it easy to start with such a product, and we want the people to try things. That's important for us. The cost should be so small that it is possible to try making a printing product in that way. We don't have running fees or something like that for using our system. You just need to pay what you create after that.
Okay.
So
it's a cost per finished product. You basically so hang on a second. It's because my Japanese friend Yasu, he was not considering that we have daylight times in savings in Europe right now. So when I was asking about time, he converted that. So he should be ready quite soon, actually. But let's wait till you get here. But I just move on very quickly to another question, and that is like at Konica Minolta's and your booth at Drupa, in which hall? And that was hall 8?
Hall 8B. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and you go to Konica Minolta's booth, and then they will find you and maybe also your wife there, so you can show off your technology. And
exactly. We will be at the front. We will be the very first people you will meet there, and Konica Minolta is then behind us.
Okay, fantastic. That was super nice introduction to what you do. And I'm, to be honest, I'm a little bit positive, surprised, and amazed that you can learn programming and be a designer and make a sellable product in such a short time. I hat off.
Yeah, thank you.
By the way, another quick question. I saw that on your integration site that you have Atomics already. Were you also at the launch event in Ghent?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
I had some conversations at the Online Print Symposium in Munich.
Yeah. Okay.
We are not finished yet with that integration.
Okay.
But we know it's possible, and we talked about that with them.
No,
we are waiting for a use case.
We covered the launch event in Ghent, so I was just curious if I missed you there, but I didn't. So that was
no, I wasn't.
No. Okay, that's great. But Tobias, thank you very much, and I hope to see you. I will definitely stop by and say hi to you at Drupa, but let's see, and that's how it is. So now we have. Yasuo Taketsuko-san here, so I will just play a small jingle, and then he will be the next one on my show here. Thank you, Tobias, and see you soon. All right, bye-bye.
See you at the Drupa.
Bye. So this is Morten from Inkish, and I have absolutely nothing to show here right now. Let's see if I can do this. Taketsuko-san, good to see you. I just have to see if I can change this for a second, because I have made some really strange things here. So hang on a second here. To the right. Can you hear me? I cannot hear you. It says that you are muted. It says you're still in the green room. That I don't understand. You're not in the green room. You are definitely live here. Let's see if I can. That is Tobias. And then we have you here. Can you hear me now? I can still not hear you. That's strange. Now everything should be right. I mean, you know how it is. You do live shows every day, so you know how it is that technology sometimes doesn't work, right? But can you? I cannot hear you, so I am just. Can you just call in again, and then I will just see if I can add you differently. So just hang up and then call me again. So we are soon having Taketsuko, my good friend from Horizon International, it's not in Kyoto, but it's just north of Kyoto by a beautiful lake. I've been there once, and that was a super nice place. So let's see if we are lucky to get so here, let's see. Try say something. No, I cannot hear you still. That is really strange. I think it must be something at your end, because it has worked perfect today. So I am pretty sure, and it has not muted here from my side. So maybe it's a microphone input on your computer. No, can't hear you. See, the good thing is that in the replays we can basically take out all this waiting time and see if it gets a little bit better. And that, I apologize for this, but that is that's when you produce live. That is how it works. Let's see. I want to show you something in the meanwhile, because I forgot to do that when I was doing my introduction here. So maybe you see this little yellow ribbon. That little yellow ribbon, you saw that everywhere when Chika and I were visiting Israel. And this is basically a symbol for bring the hostages home from Gaza and from Hamas. Okay, and we have Yasu again.
Can you hear me okay?
Now I can hear you. So good to see you, my friend. Sorry for the late hours. I know it's evening in Japan, and you have to work late just to be with me. So thank you very much, sir.
No problem at all. Thank you very much for inviting.
I take that that you are also working around the clock because there's a little show in Düsseldorf in just 2 weeks' time, right?
Yeah, Europe is just starting now, right?
Yeah, it is. And sorry, what?
11 o'clock in the morning in Europe.
It's 11:30 here right now, so it's just about lunchtime. But we will wait with lunch till after the show, of course, right? So Taketsuko-san, I think that when I have been with you guys at iGas, at Print United, at the Think Smart Factory in Kyoto, it's always amazes me. Every time I see you guys, it always amazes me how much you put into R&D and produce new products that are simply amazing. Do you still have good ideas for future products, or have we reached the end now?
Yeah, we always, have some ideas, and then we are carrying the smart factory concept, since 2019, and then it is still underway. We haven't accomplished, the smart factory concept yet. So, but right now, the market is actually demanding for the smart factory. So we should, work harder, to, accomplish our goal.
One of the things that I was also intrigued about when we met in Japan, and that was especially at the iGas, because AGVs and AMRs and robots, robot arms is something that you find all over the place with Horizon, and that is of course part of the smart factory thing. Is that also something that people should expect to see at drupa?
Yeah, we are bringing robotics and AGV, in our, at the show. And also, our partner booth also, as well. So we'll have a many robotic and AGV in our drupa show.
So how important, because I think you and I spoke about it before, because one thing is that we can, as an industry, develop smart robots and smart robot arms. Do you see, as Horizon, do you see a demand for the technology in the market right now, or is it just very much in its beginning?
It's still, depending on the market, but I think it's in Europe and US, people are really, considering to taking more, repetitive task, like a simple task, like, palletizing and such, people are trying to, move to robotic instead of, the labor, workers. So yeah, that's definitely, moving that direction.
You mentioned Europe and the US. I've always, the many times I've been in Japan, always been fascinated about how you see robots in restaurants and how you see robots integrated in many daily lives in Japan. So is the demand for robots in the printing industry not as big in Japan as in Europe and the US?
It's coming. Yeah. But the Japan, in the printing industry, the technology-wise, it's a little bit behind from the Europe and US. It doesn't mean, technology is behind. Taking the technology is a little bit behind because maybe the conservative nature.
Okay, and maybe is it? I mean, Japan is obviously a big country, but is it also difficult to get labor in Japan, or is it not as difficult? And that is maybe also one of the reasons, or.
No, it's very difficult to get the labors. As you know from the broadcast in Japan, aging is becoming a real issue. So, and then the born rate is pretty low. So we don't have enough younger workers in here. So, yeah.
Another thing that I also think is really cool about how Horizon is developing, I mean, because if you look at the ICE system that you are using as both an IoT platform, but also for kind of automation integration, this is something that I find that again, Horizon is placing yourself in the front seat, right? Because I mean, when you look at how you're collaborating with also, for example, like Ultimate Tech and with the InfoBinder and all these kind of things, it seems that you are very, very aware of that it is needed to be the software part as much as the hardware part, right? Can you tell us a little bit about how you see that?
Yeah, the IceLink is becoming very important for us. Connected with the data is actually pretty important. People are, initially, workflow are started from the JDF workflow, but the JDF is just a method. And the more important thing, to collect the data and how to use the data. So now I think it's people are realizing the importance of the data collection. So IceLink has developed for that purpose. So that's why, we are collaborating with the many software vendors. We can't develop everything by ourselves, but collaborating together, and we can get more data. And since 2019, we have introduced IceLink, and then the population is growing now, and we are finally able to see some good data coming into our not into our place. Yeah.
And when you talk about these, let's say, kind of data coming into you, that means that in order to develop the right solutions, you need to have a better understanding of how people are utilizing the equipment, right?
Yeah, that's one thing. But also we can get the customer status and such, from the database. So we can alert to the customer, something happened in your machine, probably you need a service or such. That kind of thing we are able to do as well. So both for us and for customers, I think it's that data collection is a win-win situation between, like us and a vendor and customers.
And talking about data, not everybody, but a lot of people are talking about a little bit about fear about all the data that floats around in the internet. How do you address security when it comes to, let's say, personalized information or data that can be abused by people? Is that something that you have people concerned about and working on?
Yeah, that's something, always, customer need to be, worried about. So we are actually announcing to the customer, like, what we are collecting is the machine data. It's not a personal data. So that's one thing. But of course, we are collecting the data. So we need to aware the customer what we are collecting. So if customers do not agree, and then, we are not able to connect with them, but we just need to be clear to them what we are collecting.
Okay, I got that. So IceLink and collaboration with the software vendors is becoming important. The technology that you're developing is, of course, always been very important because I think that my good friend from Horizon, Yoshihiro Oro, he always said that we make two good machines. They work too long time, basically, right? But I was just thinking that with all the technology that you're bringing to market right now, I would think that people would need to invest in some of the newer technology in order to get all the advantages of the IceLink and all these all the technology that you're bringing to market, right?
Yeah, that's true. But also, IceLink is actually able to connect with the third-party equipment or all the equipment by collaborating with the software vendors like Textura or the Spencermetrics or those companies we collaborate with. So it is still able to collect the data from there.
Okay. And at Drupa, I guess that you will show this, but you will probably also show, because that if you look at the BQ series, if you look at all the technology, especially for the book market, it seems like a market that is also very high on the agenda for Horizon, right?
Yeah. So at the Drupa, we are bringing in 18 different solutions in our booth, and then
18?
Many of them.
Did you say 18? Whoa, you will 18. Be busy setting up, right?
Yeah, 18 in our booth, and then we will have another 6 system in the partner booth as well.
Wow.
And then we are bringing the many puppet binder in a different way. So one is actually the standalone. But the other is actually, Hunkela cut and stack system together with our, BQ500 inline. Or, as you saw at the IGAS, we are connecting with the Rico press. So to show, true, book of one solution, printer inline, puppet binding solution. And also we will have a Canon and then Technow integration. So book ready and Canon press, and creating the book block, and then robotic arm fitting into our puppet binder. So many kind of puppet binders we are going to show.
When people see these kind of things, I mean, one thing is that you can be amazed about the technology. Do customers right away understand let's say, the potential when they see this level of automation, or is there a lot of explanation that needs to be done?
Yeah. It's also, always need to have a good explanation. But our system is actually the scalable. If customer want to use it as a standalone, they can use it as a standalone. And then they want to integrate with, upstream or, robotics or something, we can always help. So it's actually scalable. So we are trying to, offer a customer as easier as possible.
I don't know if you know that, but we were filming with Hunkler just a few weeks ago, and it was very because I was always like, okay, the relationship that you have with Hunkler goes back so many years that when they were acquired by Müller Martini, I was a little bit afraid that would be like going, up in the warm air. But both Müller Martini and also Hunkler, they really reconfirmed that the strong partnership will continue, right? How important is that for a company like Horizon, that you will continue having that close relationship with Hunkler in the future?
It's actually an opportunity for us always. The Müller Martini is definitely our competitor becoming. For them, it's a smaller range, product. Yeah. But the, competition and then collaboration is actually, we consider it differently. Yeah. So at the end, the customer chooses, solution. Yeah. So as long as customer is, looking to our solution, we are thinking we will be collaborating together.
And I can't help think about how many films we have made for you guys with very pleased and satisfied customers, right? So whether it's a stitch product or glue product, it's like all customers are very appreciative about the let's say the sturdiness of the technology, but also the ease of use and how much you adapt to the market. And I think it's truly great because with all due respect, and that I love both your company and Japan in big broad terms, but sometimes Japanese companies are a little bit more like, okay, we are engineer driven. But I think that Horizon is one of the companies that have very good engineering, but is delivering on a market-driven demands. I think that I think that brings Horizon in a very unique position, and something that I think you should be proud of. I think it's good, well done, I would say.
Thank you very much. Yeah. As you said, market-driven is always important, and then we are always trying to be, at the customer side to get, the real, feedback from the customer. So.
Yeah. So what else can we see? I mean, one thing is we see 24 solutions from Horizon and 18 on your own booth and the smart factory thing like that. But what have you planned else? Have you planned anything on let's say is any news or any things that we should anticipate?
So in our booth, actually, this time we are going to the biggest booth ever for us. So 1,656 square meter. Wow. So we are using 3 islands, and then we are actually dividing, 4 sections, A, B, C, D, and then we are actually doing the live presentation in the booth. And actually, the Brian, Colin, right? Yeah. They will be actually presenting on the stage to explain our equipment. So in our booth, we will be covering all our equipment in the booth to explain. So I hope, it will be enjoyable for everybody to, see our solution.
I am 1,000% that it will be interesting, and I would say also that when I see your colleagues demonstrating at different shows, they are really good. They know their shit, right? So basically, you can be sure that to learn from it. And for the audience, I just want to tell you that it is really interesting to see, because the Horizon equipment is really modular built. build. So whether you want to use, for example, BQ 500 for making perfect bound books, or you want to use it for making book blocks, or you want to have gaze on it, or you want to have end sheets on it. I mean, you have almost all solutions that you can think of today, right? You don't have Section Soon or Smith Soon, and I know you will hate me for this, but you're still missing the 3-nice trimmer where you can have a flap on your books. That you don't like me saying that, right? I know that.
Yeah, we still have a couple of or many of missing part. So we know we need to develop it. Unfortunately, we were not able to deliver those kind of solution at the Drupa, but whatever the market is demanding for us, we are in our mind to develop in the future.
Yeah. I mean, when I look at how I hope it, I have never checked actually, but I hope that you are successful also financially, because I mean, when I see Horizon and the speed that you bring to market and how you're developing things, it just to me looks like that you are almost impatient to become the world's biggest, right?
But we still need to speed up more.
Okay, well, greatly. One of the things that last question I have here before we're moving on, Taketsugu-san, when you look at the market for the, let's say, the technology that you provide, is it a growing market or is it a stable market?
I think it's a market itself. I think it's a printing industry itself. The volume-wise, it will be definitely shrinking. But actually, opportunity can be increasing depending on the segment. Something like a book title. It's every year. All the titles are increasing, and then for the goods as well. It's increasing. So everything is increasing. So the number is lowering, but the title is increasing. So if we have a right solution, this market can be growing market.
Fantastic. And I take that when you talk about the growing number of titles is also because now when you have, let's say, books of one or very low volume, now it's more feasible to do even short runs for publishers or self-publishers, right?
Yeah, everybody is becoming a shorter and shorter run. Even the book of one, they are requested to us. So yeah, it's very different from 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah, and I think that also from a technology perspective, probably more challenging from your engineers, right? Because to make a mass-produced product is one thing, but to make something that is like books of one and changeovers in format and pages and paper type and things like that must be a headache. So, well, I'm happy that you are doing it and that I'm not doing it. I'm just making the films and the stories. I am sorry that we missed on the timing difference between Europe and Japan, but I am so happy that you took your time to be with part of our PreDrupa event anyway, Taketsugu-san. So thank you very much and see you at Drupa, right?
Yeah, see you at the Drupa.
Okay.
I will be traveling this weekend.
Oh, really? Okay, safe travel then, and see you soon. And audience, now it's time for my good friend Andreas Weber, who's always have a good idea to talk about something. So I have a short intro for him, and then see you soon. See you.
Yes. Thank you.
Good morning, or whatever we should call it at this time, my dear friend Andreas. I cannot hear you, so it's the same problem. I have audio, you don't have audio, so seems that we are getting warmed up with problems, technical problems as we go on for the show. Try to take them out, Andreas. Can you hear me? Okay, are you there, Andreas?
Now I can hear you.
That's great. There's a tiny little delay on no, it's good now. So welcome on English.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me again. Great pleasure.
I always love to have you on board because I think it is, you have a lot of good ideas. There is a slight echo, so is your speaker turned on or something like that, Andreas?
Yeah, I don't get you via my headset.
Just to be sure.
Check.
I think it's good now. Try to say something.
Now it's better, right?
Much better. So thank you, sir.
Yeah.
How many times have you been at Drupa?
10 times.
Okay. So this is the 10th or this is the 11th?
Yes, it will be. And I'm very happy to get again my press identity card,
Fantastic.
So I'm a kind of VIP person.
Of course you are.
Asking smart and stupid questions.
Mm-hmm. Andreas, you have actually been part of writing a book about Drupa, right?
Yes. It's a wonderful book. I have it here. You want to see it? It's
Yes.
It's a so-called coffee table book.
Mm-hmm. And that means that
it's quite a big one.
It's quite a big one, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful designed.
Mm-hmm. And when was that?
And it's about. It was published to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Drupa in 1990, and it's not 1991 because the decision was made in 1950, and the first Drupa was launched in 1951. So the decision was to take the year 2090 to do that book, and it was an amazing work. I think I screened more than 10,000 photos together with my friend, the designer of the book, Hermann Rapp. He died in the meantime because it's such a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And we had the former general manager of VDMA, which is the big organization for the machine manufacturers in Germany. Mm-hmm. And he was responsible for Drupa for a long time because VDMA is the main, not owner, the main initiator of Drupa.
And they are
having
still
all those.
And they are still like a very important part of the Drupa right. setup because it's a VDMA and Drupa or Messecenter Düsseldorf that is running the Drupa show. And they also, I know that they've been involved with some of the touch points and the planning of these touch points that takes place during Drupa. So when you wrote this book or was part of this book and found the photos, because I can tell you that right now we are in the final phase of designing our Inkish Max Drupa in-flight magazine, and it's kind of interesting because as you say, the first Drupa was in 1951, and the Messe Düsseldorf was actually established in 1947. And think of this, it's just 2 years after the Second World War, and Düsseldorf and Cologne was actually quite heavily damaged from the bombing of the Allied. So that was at a time, of course, totally different from now. Do you know, I mean, when you were I know, of course, you were not working and alive and part of the industry at the time, but do you know when you made the book about Drupa, 40 years anniversary, how important the beginning was? Because when you see the old photos of Drupa, I'm still amazed because it was, even for the time, was a relatively big show, right?
Yeah, the most fascinating thing was that Hubert Sternberg, the CEO of Heidelberg at that time, he was the key driver. And so he had, let's say, less than a dozen German companies sharing his vision. And he made the decision, Heidelberg will rent a complete hall. So that made Heidelberg the biggest Drupa exhibitor. And because of the fact that he had more or less one machine, one model, he decided to arrange 100 of them. So
Oh, really?
just to
Wow.
fill the huge space. Yeah.
Was that the Teagle, or
And
what machine was that?
it was letterpress. Yeah.
A letterpress,
It was a new letterpress. And this was really the initial task to make Drupa happen, because I have no idea, I can't remember how many exhibition halls Messe Düsseldorf had at that time, but maybe 5 or so. So much smaller. And Messe Düsseldorf and Drupa, they balance each other. So Drupa was growing, Messe Düsseldorf was growing. And till today, Drupa is around the number 10 of all trade shows in Germany, and that's a good position, because Germany is the biggest market for trade shows in the world.
Yeah, I read from the AUME, the Federation of Exhibition Places in Germany, that the exhibition industry in Germany is expected to turn over, including all the side businesses, about 81 billion euros a year. So it is by all means a very big industry. Do you know? I mean, one thing is that Drupa is the 10th biggest show in Germany. Do you know? Because I read also that if you look at post-COVID, the average visitor numbers of trade shows in Germany is 65% of what it used to be before the COVID. Do you know if that is, I mean, is the visitor numbers, is that something that influences the total revenue and the total value of trade shows in the industry a lot, or is it mainly the exhibitors and the booth spaces that are let's say the more important part of it? Do you know that, or?
I think we have to differentiate if we observe and monitor all the trade shows in total. Maybe that's true that they have less visitors. But if you go to the top 10, I don't think so. I don't know it exactly, but my speculation is that we just had the biggest trade show in Germany, which is dedicated to the games market. And also the automotive exhibition, and they are still attracting a huge number of people. But you cannot compare Drupa as a B2B trade show to those end consumer shows.
No, of course not.
And the relevant fact was always that Drupa was the most important B2B trade show worldwide, not only for printing, because they had the highest number of investments because of contracts they were signed at Drupa. And maybe it was in 2000 around more than 10 billion euro, which is really a lot, And you have to consider that only a small number of those exhibitors are really able to make profit out of Drupa. Most of them, it's an image thing. Most companies from Asia or also from other parts of the world, the target is to be accepted in Germany for a trade show. And they are not that interested in getting their money back. So it's an image thing.
Is that when you talk about the German Wirtschaftswunder and the made in Germany, that has always been like a very valuable brand, but I think that with Dieselgate from Volkswagen and also, let's say, Heidelberg's De Root in the printing industry, and some of these, came from being a high value share to not something that is now a penny share. Do you think that the brand of Germany, in generally speaking, has decreased a bit, or?
Not yet, but Drupa was the enabler for the whole machinery business in Germany, because it was really a breakthrough. From the very beginning, Drupa was able to attract an international audience. And that was very important for the German economy. And therefore, all those ministers for economy, like the famous Ludwig Erhard, the father of Wirtschaftswunder, or Karl Schiller and others, they went to Drupa and they opened Drupa in this very initial ceremony before the trade show started. And that was so important to be part of, to be a driver for the whole economy. And the German machinery industry is still the biggest industry worldwide in that field, and also very, very strong driver of the healthiness of the German economy as well. And therefore I said not yet.
Yeah.
You never know what will happen in the future.
No, that's true. But I was also thinking that I spoke to a friend the other day where we spoke about when did the major change come to commercial print, and I said to him that I have been thinking about it a lot, and I think that 2008, 2009, where the rest of the world saw a financial crisis, I think that a lot of people in the printing industry forgot that was also when you had 50% global internet population, and therefore also it's not just a financing issue, but it was also a paradigm shift when it comes to how you mass communicate. And I think that has maybe made it more, let's say damage or changes to the printing industry than the financial crisis, because that was, after all, just a couple of years, basically, right? And the reason I mention this is just because when you look at the trade shows, and you and I have been discussing this often, is it still relevant to go to these trade shows? Will the internet also be, let's say, a driver for the Wirtschaftswunder globally in the future, rather than going to a trade show? And I'm not talking anything bad about a trade show, because I like the people-to-people thing. I also like to see new technology to the degree where it is possible for me to even browse through all these holes, right? But I was just wondering, do you think that the internet is actually a big threat to the industry of Germany, because it is now changing it from, let's say, exhibitions being the most important thing to, let's say, different mass communication is becoming more important?
That's a very good question, but a very complex one as well, because on one hand side, we have to think about, when we talk about transformation and innovation, how to innovate the go-to-market process itself. And this is related to the job suppliers have to do, the OEMs have to do, and also the print shop owners. And they are still acting like during the lifetime of Johannes Gutenberg. They are living in an old world. And one of my contacts in Switzerland, he said he never made that experience, that he got not a single valuable printed invitation for Drupa, not a single one. And he is somebody who wants to invest and who can invest. Yeah. So everything was shifted to online. And on the other hand, we have all those surveys saying that a cross-media campaign, print and online, so complementary, leads to the best results.
Yeah.
Or that a printed mailing has a much higher opening rate than an online distributed mail. And so we don't practice what we preach. That's one thing. And
that's
the
also
other
what
thing is
that's also what our friend what's his name? Günther Thomas, right? When we talked to him in one of our Weber write-ups, is that this industry does not use our own. It doesn't use the means that we're trying to communicate to our customers to use. We're not using that ourselves, right?
Yeah. So Anne Mulcahy, the former legendary CEO of Xerox, who made the turnaround after the year 2000, she always said you have to eat your own dog food. Yeah. And I think that is a good. Maybe it's a little bit slang or whatever. It's not academic, but it brings it to the point. And so we don't practice what we preach. And on the other hand, I was just screening my notes for since Drupa 2008, and I figured out that I always had that discussion. I initiated that we have the question: who in all markets all over the world, who is the driver for the adoption of innovation? And it's a certain part of the industry. We call it the creative industries. Maybe you heard about it.
Yeah.
Gerhard Schröder, our former Bundeskanzler, he set up a program driven by the government in 2008 exactly. And actually this industry, the creative industry, they cover games and software, artists and art museums, but also design, publishing, so this kind of business, and also architects and if those people who are really open-minded, if you inspire them to adopt innovation, it will infect the whole markets, the whole society in total. And we don't talk to those people.
Yeah, that's true, and that is like maybe one of the first things that we as an industry have to do. And the problem is I don't see the federations taking those initiatives. I don't see industry players taking this initiative, and I'm just wondering where should that drive come from? And you don't have to answer that. I just have one more question that I would like to discuss. It's not a very for me it's an important topic, to be honest, because as you know, we as one of the few media that has been entirely electronic is now going in to make print as well. And it took a long time for me to find a right business model for doing it. And that, of course, needs to be proved that I'm right before I can, say that, okay, swear to God that it was the right one. But do you think that when it comes to the, let's say, communication and magazines and newspapers and let's say the paid for kind of communication that used to use paper, do you think that the biggest lack of, let's say, go to use the market is that we don't really develop the new business model that are needed for seeing print as a relevant media in a electronic world?
Absolutely, because when you make the best out of the electronic world and also artificial intelligence and whatever, then it's to monitor the needs of your audience or the needs of your potential customers, just to use all the digital tools you have, and we have them for a long time already. And so there was a interesting project. I was part of that at the very beginning, also 10-15 years ago, around 2008. It came from the university in Cologne, Professor Schröder, if I remember right, and he was able to set up a technical concept for an on-demand newspaper. So the reader was able to say, in this area, maybe politics, serve what you have. In this area, sports and culture and whatever, I specify what I want to receive, and you deliver me the specific articles. It was he had a foundation, he had a basic research with Allensbach Institute, and they said most of the population wants this kind of newspaper.
It's
not a single publisher signed into that project. That means we have solutions, we have demand, and those established parties who could do the job, they don't do it. So at least, Morten, you can do it.
I want to do it. The problem is that it needs support from the industry, and this industry doesn't seem to care much about it, because I can say that every time we do something that is more, let's say, less commercial, more unbiased, less product orientated, it is difficult to raise money enough for doing that. You know that we spoke about the can't remember the name, the organization that you're part of, the Schönfelder.
Senefelder.
Senefelder, yeah. Precisely.
Senefelder Foundation.
Sorry. So you also talked about that sometimes it's difficult to raise money for something that is historical important, for something that is future orientated, and truly sad, because I think that this industry has a fantastic future ahead of us, but it doesn't come automatically. We have to do something in order to do that, and that is that has nothing to do. Yeah, it has something to do with Drupa, because if Drupa was truly an organization that was in favor of the industry, they could take on that. Because they are not member driven, it's a commercial business that doesn't support the industry in any other way than bringing a venue every 4th year. But they could take on that responsibility, just like the founding fathers of Drupa were the ones that were like, okay, we need to have this because it supports our industry. Now we need something new because it needs to support our industry. Well, that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, but Drupa has that great spirit, and when you go back to the year 1950, there were people who, they said, break the rules, bust the silos, just do it. Yeah. And this spirit we should reanimate for today, because my good friend Dr. Rainer Eschbach, he was part of the innovation group at Xerox. He said his biggest challenge was he was inventing something, and at that time he had the most number of patents inside Xerox production printing. And he said, we invent something new, and then we have to go to the product marketing. And the product marketing said, oh, did you make a market research? And he said, yes, for sure. Yes, the market research. Who else is doing that already, was the question. And he said, nobody, it's an innovation. So then we can't do it.
Yeah. True. Andreas, thank you for being my wingman when I have these events. It's truly great to have you flexible, so you can jump in when the program shifts a little bit. And now it's time to talk to, I think I have not talked to him so many times, but I always find him very interesting. So stay tuned for Theo from Manroland Goss. So after this little jingle, he will be online. Thank you, Andreas, and talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye. Hello, my dear friend, Mr. Theo Buchmeier from Manroland Goss. Good to see you.
My dear friend, Mr. Morten, how are you?
I am good and busy, and I'm so pleased that at least both sound and video seems to work now, because that is always very stressful when you are in a live and alone situation with no technicians helping you. And sorry,
life is good.
Yes,
life is good.
Yes, it is very good, and very excited about the upcoming Drupa. Manroland Goss. It's funny because your name brother is not exhibiting, but you chose to exhibit at Drupa. What are your expectations for Drupa for Manroland Goss?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to be at Drupa for Manroland Goss. Drupa is still the exhibition that is all around print, so not being there would be very difficult to digest, honestly. And for us, it's just a great opportunity to show our new products, our new possibilities that we have for our customers, and of course to meet with all the new friends, see with our customers in maybe a less stressful situation. Everybody likes to go to Drupa, and we just make new partners and new friends. So that's all about meeting people, I think, Drupa.
And I mean, when I visited your facility, I think maybe half a year ago, maybe a little bit more, I was amazed because I just want to tell on camera for people that are watching this that if you think that the web offset players like Monroe and Goss is a dying breed, that is not the case. You have changed and adapted to a market with refurbishment, with innovating technologies, bringing these machines up to date in many different ways, and for the market is still considerably a number of machines in the market. So this is interesting. So basically, you're in a situation that in a declining market, you're still able to both grow and make money at the same time, right? To you?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, as you said, we have, of course, a huge install base. Just as a number, we have more than 3,000 active presses running still at this moment in time.
Wow.
Which of course is a very impressive install base, and that goes all over the world in each continent. And it is commercial presses, it's newspaper, it's digital equipment, and now we are starting also in packaging. So by that market stays very important for us and also for our customers. And that's why at Drupa we will not only show new products not only show new products, but we also show how we can support our existing install base by retrofits, by improvements, just to sustain the commercial life or economical life of a press. So.
One of the things that I was told when I was visiting you, and I was a little bit of a surprise, and that puts maybe things also a little bit in perspective when we talk about going to an exhibition, is that you pretty much know all the presses where they are in the world, right? So when you go to Drupa, you know the people you meet there. So is being part of an event like Drupa, is that also for Monroe and Goss, let's say a statement and a commitment to, let's say, the future of the industry? If that's very broad terms, but I mean, yeah.
But sure, it is. That's what I said. Not being a Drupa, I would say, would be for me very difficult to digest, because Drupa is the presence where you show that you are in print, and we are in print, and with our more than 3,000 presses running in the world, and as you said, we have contact with, I would say, with almost all our customers. So there will be a few but the majority we are very well connected with. Just to give you an example, even more than 700 of our presses are connected via VPN or IoT boxes, where we have a constant view on how the presses can perform, and we have also tools like Intelligence that we will show at Drupa, which is a artificial intelligence tool that we can use to increase productivity of our customers. So we can even predict potential downtimes, and that is of course extremely important for our customers.
I can't help think because when we talk about this industry, and I'm not bashing any media particular, because it also goes a little bit on my own shoulders in how we talk about technology. Because I mean, if you open almost any media in our industry, there's a huge discussions about inkjet and digital print and things like that. But still, inkjet and digital is a fraction of installments. It's a fraction of volume in the market. Do you think that sometimes we oversee potentials in, let's say, in larger volume, because also we as an industry ourselves is not really talking the advantages up, and instead of just talking about the new things?
Well, let's say, of course, the installed base of inkjet is increasing rapidly, but mainly on the very short runs. And as soon as you go to a little bit larger runs, offset is still a very mature and predictive and productive process. So I think there's a coexistence of both. At the end of the day, there's a very good reason why digital has taken a place. I would predict it's even growing, but offset is a very strong productive tool for the mid-range and higher volumes. And then, of course, the question is, when is the mid-range and when is higher? That's depending. If you talk about books, we can be productive even at a very low amount of books. In leaflets, it's probably a little bit higher. Magazines, it's from 10,000, whatever you call it. But offset will not be replaced, in my opinion. Not because I'm an offset spy, but in my opinion, offset will not be. Well, I'm not totally objective. Offset will not be replaced by digital in the mid-long future.
No. I must also say that it is interesting, because when you look at some of the bigger markets, like, I mean, if you look at, it's always about the languages, because if you're in Europe, you have a lot of language changes that you need to take into consideration. But if you look at Latin America, if you have newspapers and magazines, probably larger volumes, because they have a larger installed base of readers. Same in the US, maybe also in countries like India and China, where the numbers are exceeding, like, quite interesting. When I spoke to my good friend Andreas Weber just before, I saw that you were in the green room, so I don't know if you heard what we talked about. But do you think that I'm right when I talk about that the biggest issue we have for magazine publishers is probably that they have never really got into rethinking their business model? Because, I mean, most of the printing company, the publishing companies, are looking into revenues from subscribers, from kiosk sales, and from advertising, and that's pretty much it. And maybe there are other ways you can actually be very profitable running a magazine. That's what we hope with our business model, with our magazine, right?
Sure.
But I was just wondering, when you talk to publishers and printing companies, do you see any innovation when it comes to business models in the publishing space?
Well, I think it's still very limited, honestly. So there are, of course, changes taking place, but I do think you are correct that we the business as all suppliers and customers and editors, we have to rethink how to merge maybe the different medias better than we do at the moment.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So when people come to your booth, I guess that you will not have a 700-meter long newspaper press turning a Frankfurter Allgemeiner into a real drupa experience, right?
No.
So what can people expect from your booth?
No, I think that the time of showing big running equipment like heat-up web offset or newspaper presses is behind us.
Yeah.
So what we do is we focus on our main products. One of our products is, of course, as you know, we are entering into packaging with our Variman. You saw that also when you visited us a few months back, and the Variman will be on our booth, not as a running press, but with a unit where we can still give demonstration of the flexibility of the equipment, and the reason why we think that the Variman is a good product and will take its place in the packaging printing. Where packaging printing is, of course, moving a little bit more from flexible into paper. That is what we see all over the world. We are trying to reduce plastic, and then, of course, working with offset and with an established OEM like Monroe & Goss has some advantages. For that, we will also be at Drupa on the touchpoint packaging, which is managed by Drupa. So we have a presence there also, where we will show together with our partners like Huber that we are moving from more plastic and board to paper packaging for frozen food. So that will, I think, be very interesting for our customers and potential brand owners. So as I said, on the booth, we will show our Variman, focusing on reducing cost, production costs, increasing flexibilities, reducing carbon footprint, which I think will also be a main item on the Drupa this time. Besides that, we will also look at, as I mentioned, maintenance, which is let's call it artificial intelligence maintenance tool. Maintenance means maintenance, intelligence, and sensors. So by that, with all these presses that we have installed, I mentioned 700 are already connected via VPN. We can really increase productivity, predict downtime for our customers. So we will show that also on the booth, so customers can even look at their presses if they are connected. So by that, we have a very good I would say, connection point with our customers.
I can't remember if it was Roland site we went to, but we were filming rollator print in Belgium just a few months ago. And one of yours, or?
The interview, sure.
The reason why I was just mentioning this is just because it's interesting to see, because this is a publishing group that owns a printing company, and they have an enormous appetite for growth. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see even more web offset presses being sold in a company like this in the future. I was just wondering. So when you look at the numbers and the install base you have, do you see that you have some customers that still have growth in the volumes, and not like volumes on each title, but then they have more titles because they consolidate titles and these kind of things? Do you see that in your IoT data, or how does that resonate?
Well, we could see that. We are not focusing on that. We are really focusing on production of the customer and improving that activity. So we are not looking at if they are moving from to, but of course you are correct. With the consolidation, you have some customers are growing and some customers that will not be able to follow. But with Maintelligence, we focus on productivity, increasing productivity for our customer. So come to our booth, I will show you how it works.
Fantastic.
Good.
With that
and
said,
other than that, maybe it's also good to mention, because I mentioned that we always look at Drupa, new equipment. What can we do more? We also look at our install base, and that is still extremely important for us, but also for our customers that we have. And we can show them the different upgrades that we have for all our product range to improve their economical lifetime of the products. So it will be also there. We have a big portion of our booth that is really focusing on that kind of sustainability install base.
Fantastic. Theo, I appreciate your time here on Inkish, and I know that was with a short notice, and you jumped in and you delivered perfectly. So thank you very much. And now we have our next guest. She is up early. She comes from Canada. Her name is Julie Watson. So meet her just after this little introduction jingle here. Thank you, Theo, very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Good morning, Mrs. Watson.
How are you?
I am good. I didn't have to get up as early as you, so I think it was good that we were slightly delayed and that I could push you 2 positions yesterday, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But we made it happen.
That's great. Good to see you, Julie. You are, you and Ultimate Tech, now I have to get used to a new name. You are everywhere, basically. So you have new partnerships and collaborations. We make more films for you than ever. You are at every exhibition almost. And now Drupa. I remember you said to me, maybe 6 or 8 months or some 9 months, maybe even, you said to me, well, Printing United is for us a little bit more important than Drupa. And yet it seems that you are all in for Drupa, right? So what is the truth?
Actually, both were really important. Printing United was important for us because we had some technology introductions that were very interesting. For example, we introduced a new generation of our true shape nesting. We had a Kongsberg cutting table in our booth to showcase this.
Technology for the first time at an Ultimate booth, right?
Yeah, exactly, at the Ultimate booth. And we were also introducing Ultimate Best Cut, which is a AI-driven cutting buddy that gets added on to an EtoTech paper cutter and allows to simplify the whole, cutting process for operators. So that Printing United was really important for this. Drupa is really important also because we have more technology announcements, obviously, for Drupa. Our team's going to be there. And how can Drupa not be important? It's every 4 years, everybody in the industry shows up with our best innovations, but everybody puts their best foot forward. When you're passionate about the print industry, you're excited to go to Drupa no matter what, right?
Totally agree. The reason why I was just asking was just because I know that when you have like let's say a technology announcement like you had on Printing United, obviously that is extremely important, because how do you bring that message to the market? How will the market react to it, and how can that drive your company forward? And of course, I mean, with all respect, of course, the North American market is a market that you cannot just don't care about it, right? I mean, you have to think about it a little bit from time to time, of course, right? And the same with Drupa. But for me, it was a little bit fun because you said that we were actually, and that was maybe because the focus were on these two launches, where like it may be not a more important show. That is not right, but more important to you because that was like top of mind at that time. Shit language. Sorry, I'm not good at it. No. So at Drupa, I joined your webinar just a few days ago, and it seems that you just continue an endless journey of productivity gains and technology gains that are just crazy. What will you show at Drupa?
Well, we definitely have quite a few things. So, of course, we have a new version, 2024.1 version of InfoStrip with a host of features, especially around, organization of jobs. So, imposition is also about page placement and obviously marks, but it's more than that. It's also about organizing the entire print job, and that sometimes requires some batching, some grouping, some separating, So, we've enhanced some functionality sets around this. So we invite definitely customers to come and check out what we have to show. We also now compatible with the PDF X4, so we are compliant from the Ghent work group, which we're really excited about. I apologize, it's early morning and my daughter just joined us for this session. On the way to get into my office here.
Is that next generation, Julie, or what are we looking at?
Yeah, we're training her, right?
Okay, that's great. That's great.
Just give it.
Yeah.
She wants to participate, so this is why. It's early morning here in Canada, so
that's great. You know that when you also you joined our non-event last year, you know that when you go to our events, our family is always there. So I was just, when I heard some noise outside the door, I thought, okay, my son, he will bump in a second, and then it was your daughter. So we're used to it, Julie. So no worries.
We also have more new things. So we're obviously going to be showcasing our InfoStrip in a Docker. So InfoStrip is now Linux, Mac, and Windows, and we are also offering a container version, which we will be showing on AWS at our booth. So please, for people to come and see this. Very exciting. Presenting InfoStrip for futuristic technology stacks is also very exciting. And an Ultimate Bindery, we're supporting a host of new devices, bringing our device list count to over 85 devices. This is amazing. I mean, I think out of all the, for solutions driving finishing, we started in 2008, but we've never stopped. We've never stopped adding new devices. We've never stopped adding compatibility. So this really, I think, demonstrates our dedication towards automating the full end-to-end workflow for customers.
Can I teach you a little bit?
Yeah, you can teach
because
me a little bit.
I think that you said in the webinar that you say now here in the marketing of PreDrupa we talk more than 85 devices, and I think that at PreDrupa in your webinar you said 86 devices, right? But that's still more than 85, of course, right? So, Julie,
I'm glad you were listening.
I listen to everything you say, my friend. No, a question. when just for people to understand, so when you talk about this integration and these machines that are added to the bindery, does that mean that when you integrate it, then you don't have to do anything. You just if it's on the same network, then you can connect Horizon, Stitchliner, blah blah, and then basically the two systems collaborate, or what? How does it work in reality?
Exactly. We build a driver based on the device's capability. So first of all, you can validate jobs to this device. Every device has its own constraints. So very important point is you want to validate before you print, so you can make sure that whatever you're printing, you can finish. As well as this driver allows a direct connectivity to the device from job to job with full detail and full setup. So you're really removing all manual make ready on that device. And we can automate as much as what that device allows in terms of automation. So that's interesting. With Ultimate Bindery, there's a lot of added value. You want to get started with only automating one device, this is possible. You want to automate in the future more devices, this is also possible. And knowing that with Ultimate Bindery, we're continuously adding devices, it makes it really a future-proof solution. So you can tie in to an existing workflow, for example. It can take as input JDF, and you can tie it to an existing workflow, or obviously to Ultimate InfoStrip for a full end-to-end.
Just to understand what you say, so let's say that you have a setup where you have InfoStrip and InfoBind, right, or Bindery. Does that mean that let's say that I put a job on my press X, and it needs to be bound on binder Y, and before you actually get the job started, then it will communicate whether formats and impositioning and placement of pages fits these two technologies?
Exactly. So you can validate for finishing, and you can automatically, obviously, impose the job for the press, but also for finishing. So imposition is all about how you will finish the product. So all of this ties into a fully automated workflow.
Super smart. I was just wondering, because one of the things we were filming from PhotoFabrik in the Netherlands for you last year. Super nice company, and I guess it's also a super nice customer for you guys, because they are really involved, right? But one of the reason I mentioned that was because there was a couple of things that I paid attention to when we did the film, and one thing is that you have a scalable solution that you can actually add resources on the server side as you need it. If you have a lot of work next Monday, you can basically say, give me more resources, basically, right? That was the one thing, right? The other thing was also okay, let's start with that one, because I just want to have your answer to that one first. So scalability, tell me a little bit about that.
It's really important. So first of all, with digital printing, you're handling a high number of short-run jobs. It's a lot of files, and you want to get them ready as quickly as possible to drive all your digital equipment. Especially in the context of PhotoFabrik, they're driving their entire production, all their digital presses, all their wide format presses. All the files are centralized through InfoStrip. So at this point, you may need more processing power to handle all of this, depending on the number of jobs you're producing every day and the types of jobs that you're producing every day. So what's good to know is that with InfoStrip, you can reach whatever level of processing power that you need. And with our unique scalable architecture and all the optimization features around that, it really makes it a must-have in these environments.
The other thing, and you mentioned it almost yourself now, or you did actually mention this, is that when I spoke to you before we went to PhotoFabrik, you said that one of the things, if I quote you right, but I think you said to me that if you look at where the competition goes in now when it comes to, let's say, the software side of our industry, basically every time you buy a printing machine, you have some kind of workflow. Every time you buy any MIS system, you have some kind of workflow, and basically a lot of it may actually be let's say, obsolete or not relevant. And if you look at the cost of having this software, you really want to say get rid of it, just buy into the ultimate tech universe. How far can you actually do that? Because I mean, you cannot replace a DFE with you guys, right? But
No.
but when you say that, where is the, let's say, where are the touch points to where you can deliver and where you are not delivering? If we put, let's say, into a real life kind of application, where can people save money?
Yeah. No, we do not compete with a DFE, and DFEs are really important. You need powerful DFEs to have good ripping time, to have pages printing out of the press as quickly as possible. So that's definitely a really important component. Basically, what we're saying is we specialize in the imposition process. So leave that specialty to us. We are going to impose the jobs as efficiently as possible inside one solution. So, for example, you don't need, if you have various solutions, you have to learn each solution, and each solution is geared towards a certain piece of equipment, but does not necessarily have a full functionality set. When we build ImpoStrip, it's about servicing all the presses, different applications, but focusing on imposition. This is really our expertise. And so I think to have expert tools, best-in-class solutions is really key to an optimal production. And so what we'll do is we'll deliver a PDF file. We're a PDF workflow. So this could be going to a DFE, to a RIP, anywhere basically that you need to deliver it.
So if, let's say that you're a company like Photofabrik, I know they are quite unique, but let's say that, okay, no, it may be different. Let's say that you're a printing company with multiple presses and semi-automated workflow, and you're getting there, but you're not there 100%. How do you get to the next level? Because I mean, you're based in Canada, and I guess that people works with your let's say distributors or agents or dealers or whatever you call them, right, in order to understand the, let's say, the total implication of working with Ultimate Tech, right?
Well, first of all, working with Ultimate ImpoStrip with our tools is easy. So there's no big implementation. You can start small. You can start without programming skills and still automate. With our hot folder technology, allows you to really dive into automating everything about the imposition. And then you can bring it one step further. You can tie it into web to print storefront, an MIS solution, or any kind of upstream management system as well. Tie it in to automatically deliver files to the DFEs, for example. You can start small. You can be automated. So the entry point is easy. It's an easy step, and then you can build from there. You have more volume. We can, cross grade to a scalable version. So really, I think the message is about getting started. You want to automate, and that's starting with picking a best-in-class tool like Ultimate ImpoStrip, and our team will be happy to walk, each customer towards their full automation journey. And then the next step is to tie in finishing, of course, and automating all the finishing equipment and removing as many manual steps as possible in the process.
So if you really, really want to automate and really make money on automation, are you basically saying that the biggest, let's say, low-hanging fruit, if you can say that, is basically when you are able to add it into the bindery? Because I mean, binderies are typically very labor intensive, and so that is where you get the real big gains, is that when you implement the bindery?
Definitely, because there's always been a lot of focus on getting the files to the press, but then losing all that speed and all that automation and bindery is counterproductive.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is, yes, automate to the press, and then continue this automation all the way down to the final product. And then you really, I think, gain in terms of productivity, and you can get more jobs out the door. some customers saying they produce 30% more jobs in a day.
Wow.
This is tremendous. Who wouldn't want to produce 30% more jobs in a day? And the investment, software is not that complex. With a team of experts like our team, we could definitely help with answering questions. It's just a question of changing, I guess, habits, changing the way to look at how the work flows into production. But nowadays, it's not complicated anymore to automate all the way down to finishing.
Okay. In the beginning, you mentioned as one of the big takeaways is the AVS solution, having a cloud-based ultimate solution. I do understand, but why is it important that you have a Unix and a Mac and a Windows version? I mean, shouldn't we just all move to the cloud?
I mean, our solutions are really tailored to fit into customer environment. And depending on where the print service providers are around the world, they have different preferences.
Okay.
And so as a technology company, we simply want to provide the technology stack to fit into whatever environment the customer has. In different customer size, different region is going to have different preferences. If you're going towards the cloud, a lot of people use Linux for various reasons. So this is why we went in this direction. But we just want to offer the possibilities so that customers can really leverage our technology.
Then maybe stupid question is that, like, can you across these platforms share code base, or does that require 4 times more work from your side? I mean, I'm always asking because every time you offer more solutions that needs to be maintained. I mean, I remember my colleague Henrik, he said to me yesterday, well, Excel on Mac is not as good as Excel on Windows. I don't know if it's true, but I was just like, if you have to manage more code base and everything, it sometimes just costs more time and therefore also more money.
Well, for us, it's a unified code base, right? So we don't have 10 different subversions of InfoStrip to manage. It's simply, multi-platform and being able to scale it in different environments. So this is manageable, and it's our commitment, I guess, to providing technology for the future, because yes, a lot of solutions are still installed on premise, but customers also wanting to install this on their cloud environments. So this is an important step, I think, for the future. We were already Windows and Mac. Bringing it to Linux is not it's not the end of the world when you're already in these environments.
Maybe the beginning to a new world, because I mean, I guess that Mac OS is still Unix based, right? So basically you can probably port quite a lot of things from solution to solution. Julie,
and actually that brings me to a good point, is that our solution on all these platforms is full featured. So in this containerized version that you can scale on AWS, we're talking about the full feature set and power of the Ultimate InfoStrip, not some sub feature or selected feature set. So that's really, really powerful.
Does that also mean, because now you're poking the bear basically, right? So basically, does that also mean that from an API perspective that you can do pretty much everything that you can do in both binary and InfoStrip through APIs?
Yes. So we've always had open connectivity to Ultimate InfoStrip, and it's for sure that communicating via the cloud is going to be via web APIs.
Fantastic. Julie, at your webinar on PreDrupa event last week, you invited our joint friend Matthias from Omikai to show integration into an MIS system. I know that he will also be at Drupa together with you. Are you bringing more partners into your booth to show how all these partnerships works, or is he a one-off?
Well, we're definitely about connectivity and integration. What's very interesting about this integration that we wanted to showcase is that we really worked together with Omikai to build a total end-to-end connectivity from a web to print storefront that's built on Shopify with connectivity via Zapier into Omikai, and then the jobs obviously being organized there and then submitted to our solutions for imposition and finishing. So this end to end is really possible, and with a futuristic tech stack. So this is what we're presenting at Drupa. This is really important, I think, for the industry, and this is why we came together to showcase this integration at this event.
Fantastic. What else? I mean, you will be there for all 11 days minimum, and you will bring your entire international team of people that speaks different languages. I mean, it's soon, Julie. When are you leaving Canada?
Very soon, probably. Too soon.
Hey, you will be flying in as a diva and just land on the starting date and just let your staff handling everything, right?
Right.
That would be very unlikely, you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But we do have the advantage that we're a software company. We don't have, luckily, we don't have to ship equipment and set up equipment. I know this is a lot of work for manufacturers to do a whole setup, especially at Drupa.
Definitely.
So I really do think that visitors are going to have a lot of neat things to see. So Drupa is definitely a place to be. You know, Ultimate's first Drupa was in 1990.
Wow.
And we're going to be celebrating our 35 years at Drupa. So
fantastic. It was talking about history. I saw that you posted a photo of you and your mom with was it a banner or roll up? And I was just like, wow. I mean, I know that we always looked like our parents, but that was like something that you couldn't run away from, right?
Ever since I started in the industry, people would walk up to me and say, "Oh, you must be Joanne's daughter, right?"
Yeah, and I mean, that is not the worst thing to be compared to, of course. So that's super great. Julie, I want to thank you very much for your time here. I know it was early, but it was fun, and I hope it was also educational for our audience. So thank you very much. For the next person that we're going to meet, that is something that is almost unlikely on when I do these kind of webinars, because it is a pre-recorded session with John Blythe from Rico, and the only reason why I allowed him to do it as a pre-recording from yesterday was mainly because the entire Rico team is today gathered to talk about the final Drupa plannings. So I take that as a fair and square reason for doing it, right? So as a little teaser, and then I will show you the interview I did with John yesterday. So Julie, thank you very much, and see you soon in Düsseldorf, right?
Yeah, see you in Germany. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is Morten here, and good morning, John. We are here almost live with our PreDrupa 2024, the last in the series. So, how are you? I guess that you're a little bit stressed, maybe.
Just a little bit. It's only 2 weeks ago now, so a lot of big team working really hard to pull it together. But we're very excited, that's for sure. It's been 8 long years, really, since the industry gathered at Drupa, and I know there's a lot of people very excited about the opportunity to meet again. And I think there's going to be a real spirit of celebration at the place. And the fact that the event is taking place itself is a real sign of how resilient our industry is. And I think that that's absolutely wonderful. I mean, for Rico's standpoint, of course, we're very much looking forward to it. We're going to put on something, I think, that will really demonstrate what we're about. So it's a chance for us to engage with the biggest audience of all and really underline our commitment to our clients' success, our partnership ethos, which is really something that we hold very dearly, but also some of the other key areas of our proposition, which is around innovation and transformation. So yeah, we're very excited, very excited.
I can't help think about, because I think it was one of your colleagues that mentioned to me that, I mean, we always talk about like the big players as they have always been around, but for Rico, I think it's only the second or the third time that you exhibit at Drupa, right?
It's actually I think, fourth time. Indeed.
Fourth
Yes,
time, okay.
exactly.
But it is in the newer end.
Yeah,
at least,
exactly.
Right?
But the original one, I think, was fairly modest in scale. It was perhaps only Drupa 2012 and 2016 that we were really able to show how serious we are and what a major player we had become. So in a sense, you could call it our third.
But I was just about to say, because I mean, you say that yourself, but I mean, Rico is, I mean, absolutely one of the most important players in the field right now. Sometimes working for Rico, it must be like, wow, we did that in only like less than 10, 15 years, right? It must be quite amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So
right?
I can think back to when I first started, which was about 12 years ago. At that point, we very much were the new entrants, new kids on the block. Big ambition, strong aspirations to really challenge the established hierarchy, the big players. And within a few short years, we absolutely have. We've expanded our range beyond all recognition. And also the breadth of our services and capabilities. It's a complete sea change. It really bears little resemblance to what we were able to offer back around 2010 time.
So, I mean, when you decided to go to Drupa this time, after, as you said, 8 long years, where, I mean, Rico has developed enormously also without a Drupa. Are you still like, I mean, you mentioned a little bit about before, but when you think of Drupa and what you think of how that will help you to the next level, what are your hopes for Drupa in that perspective?
Well, it wasn't a really tough decision for us to attend. We felt that this was a unique opportunity to really enable people to see and understand and see at firsthand exactly what we're doing, what we're offering. So, for example, we've updated, almost completely refreshed our core production printing hardware range. So this is an opportunity for people to see, for example, the famous Dragon, the ProZ75. This is the world's first B2 Plus inkjet sheet-fed device using aqueous ink with auto-perfecting. First time it's going to be seen anywhere in Europe publicly. Also, even newer is our new flagship high-speed inkjet web-fed device, the ProVC 80,000. This is its global debut. But not only those two, we've refreshed our color range. So our two top-of-the-line sheet-fed toner-based devices, the Pro 9500 and the Pro C7500, the famous 5-color device, the Jaguar, as many people know it. Those are going to be there. So we've really refreshed and upgraded our core production printing devices literally over the course of the last 6 months or so. So it's an unprecedented opportunity for people to see all of these together. And not only that, I probably should say, what we really want to do is to create a memorable experience, because there's going to be some incredible technology on the stand. But what we want to do also, putting it simplistically, is give people a good time. So we've been working hard on creating some aspects of what we're going to offer that I think are going to be truly unique. So we have at the heart of our stand what we call the House of Hinkaku, which is a theatre. And we're going to be running multiple times every day a spectacular, immersive, multi-sensory show that I think is going to be like nothing else that anyone else is going to see at Drupa. Wow. It's very much about how we can and have helped our clients and our partners transform their businesses. But it really is quite remarkable, and I think that no one's really going to miss that. So we put a lot of store and effort into making it an incredible and memorable experience. So it's not just about getting to grips with the hardware and the software. That's important, but we really wanted to show that Ricoh, we like to do things a bit differently. I think you know that, Morten.
I can't help think about John, because Haneko, you have used that expression for a long time, and for us non-Japanese, what does it mean?
Yeah,
actually?
Hinkaku, exactly. Well, it means transformational innovation. So it's not incremental innovation or a little bit of innovation. This is really fundamental and far-reaching change. And this is really what sums up our ethos in graphic communications, how we can bring fundamental change on behalf of our clients, whichever segment they operate in. And these days, everybody operates in such a fast-changing, fast-paced, turbulent market and commercial climate that no one can stand still. They need to move with the times. They need to adapt and develop new technology, new ways of doing things. They need to future-proof themselves. And Hinkaku really encapsulates our philosophy around transformational innovation. And the way principally that we do this is through co-innovation. So we're not innovating on our own. Yes, we've got lots and lots of scientists and engineers and designers in Japan in labs, but we don't do it in isolation. We do it with our partners, with our clients, to develop products and solutions that meet their specific needs. So it's a collaborative affair. And I mentioned partnership at the beginning. And so co-innovation captures that idea of innovation at one hand, but doing it together, doing it in partnership with our clients and partners.
And I take that that also means that when you have that close partnership with your both from the R&D but also from the customer side, means that when you go to market with products, they are very well aligned with the needs in the market, right?
Yeah, exactly. We put great store by consultation and getting input, and we run programs and we have groups and committees, and we bring clients together in different areas, including software, where we really listen very carefully to what their issues are and the changing demands and challenges facing them to ensure that our products remain as relevant as they possibly can be for a changing world.
I don't know if you've seen that, probably didn't see, but I actually have a t-shirt on where it says art.com.
Oh, yeah, right? Okay.
And that is because I was participating as part of the launch of the Z75 with the Realistic. So that is their t-shirt that they sponsored to me.
Very cool.
And that was a great example because when we were there were Japanese, I think they were from R&D that was helping setting up the last little things. And there was the Ricoh people from Europe, of course. And then you see a very happy and smiling owner of this machine because all the anticipations and expectations for a new money beast, basically.
Indeed.
Fantastic. John, I know that you are busy as hell because it's only, as you said, 2 weeks before we're going to Drupa. I have a last question. Maybe you can answer that very short because you mentioned a little bit about your booth. I saw some of the 3D animations or 3D renderings you did from the booth. It seems like a fantastic booth. Am I a little bit right if I say black and purple are some of the colors we will see a lot from there? Or?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's fair to say there's a lot of love out there for this design, and we've created these sort of 3D CGI renders, and I think it's captured people's imagination, and a lot of people have certainly firmly written us into their schedules. It's a very contemporary modern space. It's quite minimalist, but it's heavily infused by Japanese influences. So our theatre structure sort of evokes the idea of a Japanese temple, and there are some calming gardens in there as well, and bright use of certain accent colours, including pink and purple, and of course neon. I think Ricoh has become synonymous with neon due to our 5-color capabilities. So it's going to be quite special, I think. We're looking forward to welcoming many, many people and just showing them what we can do for them.
Maybe you should consider another change also at your servings, because I mean, when you go to Drupa, it's also about the beers and the sausages. Maybe you should serve green tea on your booth, right?
There is going to be a little bit of a Japanese flavor, yes. Don't worry about that.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much for your time here, and thank you for participating in our last PreDrupa event. It was super nice to see you, John, and see you in a couple of weeks in
Looking
Düsseldorf.
Forward to it, Morten.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Sabine, such a pleasure to meet you here in beautiful Lucerne in Switzerland. We have to talk about Drupa.
Yes.
Next year's Drupa year. Fire away.
Yeah, my pleasure as well to meet you here during the Home Care Innovation Days. Yeah, Drupa is in a very positive mood. As I already mentioned, we are in great progress and we already have taken the last results of Drupa 16 in terms of space and key accounts that are already registered for Drupa. So we are in the middle as well of getting the agenda set for our different conference areas, stages, touch points, if it's the touch point packaging or 3D Fab and Print. DNA, which is actually a fresh and new approach of the formerly Drupa Innovation Park. We're coming from cutting-edge technologies, global trends, and the target and aim is to show the impact on our industry. So it's all very dynamic.
Talking about being on track and selling the space, which is, I guess, a very important thing for a big exhibition that takes place every 4th year. Would you say that your success rate of Drupa is a mirror of how the industry is developing right now?
Absolutely. I think coming from a big consolidation period, not only on the visitor side, print service provider side, but as well from the supplier side, this actually has given a lot of spirit and a lot of positive move. And if you look at the portfolio of our major key players, you clearly see that the graphic arts, yes, it's still the heart of Drupa since foundation 69 years ago. However, all the major key players certainly now have a digital strategy. And there's no more only one digital hall or 2 or 3, but we're talking about 18 halls full of digital solutions, and certainly looking at inkjet. This is one of the drivers in the industry where you not only print on graphic material but on ceramics, on wood, on textile.
You have another advantage with a lot of the inkjet presses. They take out a lot of space, right?
Yeah. As one of the USPs of Drupa certainly is that exhibitors are coming with running machinery and with big equipment. That is certainly as well an exciting curve for many of the participants.
I've been at Drupa many times, of course, since I'm a member of the industry, but one of the things I like about Drupa a lot is, of course, as you said, that you have running equipment. I also like that it is more than 2 days. I'm not 100% sure I like it's 11 days. Yeah. And it used to be 14 days. If you look at Drupa in the marketplace, is there still a need for these long time exhibitions? I know it takes a lot of time to put things up, and there's a lot of people there, but I'm just like, time is changing, and as you mentioned DNA, I think there's a lot of changes in the world going on, so I'm really curious about your opinion about that.
Yeah, so actually we are not taking that decision by ourselves. We have a Drupa committee which actually represents the visitor and exhibitor side. And interesting enough, obviously there's still the need to have 11 days. And still in 12 there were
That's good when it's like 15 months ago, right?
11 days. I mean, we would have adjusted, like running the K-show for 8 days or Interpack for 7 days, having an overlap of exhibitors in that circle. And we regularly ask our customers, would you rather reduce or remain with the timeline? And as I said, the feedback was 11 days are perfect. And so I think we're just meeting there the requirements of the industry you just said and mentioned, with a 4 or even 5 week construction period, and with all that machinery.
It takes just a long time to do it, basically.
It's simply, and with all the country days and different teams coming from all over the world, that's, I think, fascinating to see.
Why exhibitions? I mean, we have the internet, we have films, we have a lot of the exhibitors at Drupa and the big brands, they have their own shows. Why big shows like Drupa? Why print shows?
Okay, we love fairs, certainly. That's our commitment. But on the other side, I think with all the digitalization and with the digital transformation, the need of meeting and face-to-face interactive exchange of ideas, touching solutions, being a human being with the desire to have haptical experience. This is obviously still a very big vote for trade fairs. And interesting enough, we are observing at Messe Düsseldorf with a portfolio of 25 own trade fairs and 25 guest partners. So far, there always was a good reason why trade fairs took place, and our own shows that have taken place already since the beginning of the year, if it's the boat show, if it's the Eurosys show for the biggest retail, let's say, meeting point, they have seen even an increase in participation. And
but the reason I'm asking is because if you look at your visitor numbers over the past, let's say, 5-6 shows, it has a curve, and it's not a positive curve.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's certainly true.
So that's why I'm asking if there's because I can understand. I totally agree with you on the tactile and the networking thing and running equipment and all these kind of things. I totally agree on that. But I'm just wondering, why is of course the industry is a decreasing industry, so of course from that perspective there will be fewer visitors. But I'm just wondering, do we as an industry have a challenge ahead of us actually convincing the print service providers and the industry to actually back up and get inspiration from getting to the trade shows?
I think this is our absolute responsibility, to show the universe of print, different business models, how to probably partner and take the win-wins of every partnership. And this is, I think, a big tendency observed not only on the visitor side, but as well on the supplier side. Interesting enough, we see that some of the big players, formerly being competitors, now are getting much closer and really serving the customer from a different angle and perspective. And just to answer your question or to reply to your observations.
Thank you.
You're fully right. 10 years ago or 7 years ago, we had 15,000 print service providers in Germany. Let's name it like this. Now we're talking about 7,000. So 50% of the base of visitor potential has been eliminated from the market due to digital transformation and other reasons why they didn't survive. And obviously that consolidation is still going on. However, from an international point of view, visitor numbers were increasing. We had an increase again from India, from China.
So the emerging markets go to Germany, basically.
Absolutely. I think Europe as a region and as a country still has a very high reputation when it comes up to engineering processes and to quality technology. Like here in Switzerland, I think Switzerland, Germany, Scandinavia, these are very strong countries that simply have an absolute, quality and reason why the world is going to still meet at platforms such as Drupa.
It's kind of fun because when I attended Print 18 in Chicago, the obvious question is always the first day of the show, how many will come and how is the boss and things like that. And I was actually the guy that gave me the badge. I asked him, so is it a big show this year? And he was like, I don't know. See, I'm not with the show. I'm just here with the McCormick place. And the way I see it is that, 10 years ago, there was like 5-10 people from every company coming here.
Yeah, that's another reason.
But now
it's a budget theme and topic, absolutely.
Yeah. And I was just wondering because I wrote an article about this, because I think that one of the challenges the exhibitors or the exhibiting industry has is that it really has to be valuable for the customer.
Relevant, valuable,
to get that. Because I'm just wondering, in your opinion, do you think that, not Drupa in particular, but more like in general, do you think that the industry and the exhibitors has been too much focusing on the exhibitors rather than the visitors?
We as an organizer.
No, I was more in general, Because this is one of the surprises I have is I see that the number of private shows like this one and like a little bit like D-Scoop, a little bit like Argos Inspiration.
Different formats simply,
seems to be attractive for the vendors because they have their own audience and they can manipulate the communication the way the story they want to tell. And I was just wondering if the users like to participate in these events, doesn't that challenge the big ones like yourself even more?
To a certain extent, I think. These niche events or user events, as you just mentioned, D-Scoop, for example, or EFI Connect, I think another very, successful example. I think it's the charming thing is the mixture out of it, because as you said, you just meet the audience, you already know. At Drupa, I guess, the impulses coming as well from fresh and new contacts have as well a great value for exhibitors. And it's simply a different platform, it's coming from a different hierarchy, And yeah, the world of trade fairs has changed as well. We have seen a lot of consolidation. I mean, the biggest competitor when I started at Messe Düsseldorf was IPEX in terms for Drupa. It's gone. There are trade shows in Germany like drupa2024 in Sinsheim finished.
Okay.
Or,
so you actually
consolidated from
even from a German perspective, you consolidate. So some of the local fairs now become more attracted to go to Drupa.
Because I mean, anyway, if you are taking your business very carefully and have a big responsibility for your future, you have to get orientation and guidance. And where do you get orientation and guidance? Certainly, one thing is a good print source and magazine or different, let's say, formats, conferences. However, on the other side, I think you have to get a vision and you have to get inspired by, I think, many key players that are certainly driving our industry, and I think this is what Drupa still stands for in terms of value proposition.
I totally agree on that. I'm looking forward to go there, of course. Final little round of questions here is, unless you have something you want to add to it. I was just wondering. Now we have been touching a little bit upon the market and the challenges that I think we agree on that it requires some kind of, I wouldn't say change, but it requires considerations about how to actually make it attractive to go there. So if you look at next Drupa, what is, if you have 3 reasons why a print service provider or converter should go there, shoot away.
Yeah, absolutely. As I just said, it's about inspiration, it's about new business models, it's orientation and guidance. It's simply taking, as our claim says, embrace the future, taking or identifying what is relevant for me, what is in for me as quality, and implementing those ideas if you're a print service provider in your daily business, or if you're a supplier just getting an idea about what is happening. Because I think the universe of print is still so let's say, it's still unlimited in terms of ideas and in terms of applications. And as always, there are some big visions around provided by key players of the industry. And I think there's not one industry where you don't find printing applications. No. If you're looking at the automotive industry, if you're looking at the medical industry, if you're looking at the various, let's say, applications in terms of packaging, I think printing is so inspiring. And
of course, I agree with you. I'm not trying to be provocative, but anyway, I'm just asking the things that you mentioned right now.
It's a must-attend event.
Yeah, but
if you miss it.
But isn't it more or less the same? Could you say that about the 16 and the 12 Drupas? I mean, I'm just wondering. I had a conversation with Thayer Long.
Yes.
And I actually think that was the reason why I got involved with AP Tech for the last show, because I was thinking that the value is not. I mean, you know the hotel prices in Düsseldorf, and you know how expensive it is. But that is not the real cost. The real cost is basically that you take out the time of your company, and that's where the value proposition. So what you say is, of course, right. I couldn't disagree with anything of you saying. I'm just wondering, because if I was let's say that I'm a printer in Hamburg, or I'm a printer in Milan, or I'm a printer in Athens, and I have to go and I want to go to Drupa. It's not just, it's always about equipment, it's always about return on investment, but it also has to do something that the value that you bring is that enough to have a lot of halls with a lot of gear, and because that also it is a challenge for the industry to reinvent themselves in order to make it even more valuable to go there.
But there, let's say you're talking about the timeline for a printer that is visiting. That's one side of the story. I think that's as well a USP of Drupa, being in a 4-year cycle. We just had very interesting interviews and discussions, dialogues with customers. So one big value of Drupa certainly is that the supplier side is developing specifically on that 4-year cycle innovation. So if you
they use it to actually kind of
it's obviously
get
the
leads,
Olympic,
and then
the Olympic thought behind it I think is really one big advantage.
Okay, but that sounds awesome. So that means that we can with confidence go to Drupa, and we can with confidence believe in the next Drupa as well.
Absolutely agree. And fully,
Thank you
very much.
Yeah. See, that was a little bit funny to see a 5 years old version of me and Sabine Gelderman and an interview about Drupa. Time flies by, and we have our last guest here that just arrived to a hotel in the US. It is Shlomo from Hicon, and I look very much forward to see him. So I would just play this little jingle, and then we have Shlomo as the last visitor of our show today. So hang on for a second here. Hello, Mr. Shlomo.
Good morning, good afternoon. Where are you on the globus today?
I'm home in Denmark. You're the one that is traveling today, Shlomo. So are you still in Seattle, or where are you?
No. I left Seattle at 10 p.m. last night and just literally landed about an hour ago in New York.
Okay.
And rushed to the hotel to be ready for our call. I mean, it's not a week that I don't talk to you. I mean, if a week goes by and we don't see each other, I start to be concerned.
Don't be concerned. I will always be there, Shlomo. Don't worry. So good to see you. And I guess that, one thing is that we are warming up to Drupa, but another thing is, of course, that you have to maintain your daily business as well. So I guess that the US trip does not have any specifically to do with Drupa, right?
No, well, it has nothing to do with Drupa, and it has to do everything with Drupa. I mean, it's spending time with the sales organization, meeting prospects, some of which are actually planning to come to Drupa, and hopefully ink some deals at the show. I can tell you that equally I have a team in Europe that is doing the same. I wish I could have split it myself, but I guess they're working on it.
And then at the same time, I have always sending invites. And I know that people are always like, okay, we want to participate, but we also have to prioritize. And we know that we have, marketing activities leading for an interest in the products and Drupa, of course. And then you have daily operations besides all the things you just mentioned. So I guess that as a relatively small organization, I guess that you are extremely busy when an event like Drupa is just 2 weeks away from now, right?
That's why you need to have a team. And I have a strong team around me. I mean, Simon, our EVP of marketing and strategy. I mean, he's been driving Drupa and everything that leads to the show. And we have a team already on the ground, actually some of which are on their way. So I have a strong team, and I'm very pleased, very happy that this is actually in place. And it does allow me to be in the field and meet customers, which at the end of the day, they make the difference for us.
That's true. Shlomo, at the last Drupa, you were not working for Hicon, and a lot of the people that I knew from Hicon is actually not working for Hicon anymore. So what kind of dynamics does that give to we'll talk a little bit about what you're showing in a moment, but what kind of dynamic does it give to an organization where, Simon obviously been there many times, but and he was also part of Drupa last time, but Sheila is not there anymore. There's a lot of changes going on, so I guess that also gives a new positive dynamic, right?
Oh yeah, I think the team is extremely committed, extremely excited. We're counting the days. We make sure that we continue our presence on all the different venues that are out there, including yourself. No, I think new blood, new perspective, new energy, and that's what we need for this peak event, if you will.
In 16, Hicon was, you had like one of the most astonishing booth with some astonishing show of what Hycon technology could do. But since then, the strategy has changed to, let's say, something that maybe makes it more sellable, because filigrane is great, but probably has fewer customers in the market. You really went industrial scale into the packaging market, both for corrugated and folding carton. How do you think that people will perceive that change when they come to see you at Drupa? What can people expect from Drupa?
I think people loves it. I think it's for us, Drupa is about mainstreaming digital die cutting. As you mentioned, I joined. I wasn't there in 2016. I only watched the videos, and yes, it was an astonishing event. I wouldn't say that it represents what Hycon's technology is all about and what it is capable of bringing to the industry in terms of value. We pivoted the company into packaging and display in early 2020, a few months after I joined, right in the midst of the COVID, of course.
Of course.
And fast forward to today, I guess anyone would have been proud with 50% annual growth that our customers are demonstrating, with more than 80 installations, 25% of which are actually at customers with 2 installations and more, at least. I visited some of them actually in the last week in the US, and it's just very, very gratifying to watch them grow and really strong partnership of a win-win on both sides. I mean, they understand our challenges, and we have had our challenges. Let's hope we're not going to have more challenges. I mean, we're going to have different challenges, I guess. But it's very rewarding. So we're certainly seeing the fruits of our labor in terms of how the type of customers we sell to, the ramp up that they're actually demonstrating, the business model that we have changed a few years ago is finally starting to show results. So, we need some luck, and the rest will take care of itself.
So when you come to Drupa and go to Hycon's booth, what will you show, and how is it? I mean, what can people see at your booth, and what should they learn?
So first of all, it's about customer application. You will see many customer application. In fact, we will be the center of digital die cutting from multiple digital printers on the floor. I believe we're even going to have an Hycon inside small note on every one of those pages. I hope so.
Of course.
Otherwise, people will have to guess, but yeah, that's the intent. Drupa for us is about astonishing improvement in productivity and efficiency. We will actually be announcing 50% increase in throughput, which is based on a combination of changing existing processes as well as improving technological capabilities in our equipment. We will be launching the Beam 3, which is our third Beam generation. We will be launching the Beam Writer, which is an offline device that allow you to shorten 5 to 10 minutes for every job that you will be uploading on the system. So all in all, you will be looking at 50% improved productivity. We will be announcing the upgraded Beam 2C, which is combined with the Beam Writer, would enable our customers to increase productivity by 50%. And of course, we'll share our plans for the future with the large format, the Vulcan. And obviously, our plans on that is to have the Vulcan as a dominant product in Drupa 2028. So a lot of excitement. I believe that prospects, customers will be able to see that the company have matured, really aligned with the market needs, and growing together with the market, recognizing the needs for this digital transformation. And it's going to be much more humble. I'll say we're not going to have any dancer or any kind of these things. In fact, Sealed Air C will be on our booth. They're going to have their own corner. They will be showing their digital core view, which they've transformed from analog. So a lot of exciting stuff.
I have to dig a little bit into something that I find interesting, because when you talk about customers buying 2 or more machines from you guys. I think that the idea of the beam rider, aren't you just angry and upset with yourself that you didn't get that idea many years ago? Because, I mean, basically that is so simple and so smart an idea that you take the dart and produce that in a separate unit, because if people have more units, first of all, you don't need to put that into every machine. Secondly, you improve the productivity because the darts can be produced while it's laser die cutting. It must be so nice also for your customers to understand that will increase the productivity by numerous percents, basically, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's specifically it's 25% for the folding carton and 35% for the corrugated. You're right. Sometimes the simplest ideas are hidden.
Yeah, that's true.
But I can say, since this is the way the equipment was developed to begin with, the fact that you could actually do your own dies in 5 to 10 minutes as opposed to outsourcing.
Still super smart, right? Yeah, super smart. I mean,
it takes 3-4 days. I guess people thought, 5-10 minutes, it's okay. We can do it in line. But when you mature, when customers are really starting to do 30 and 40 and 50 jobs per day, it becomes a barrier. Yeah. And at that point in time, I've got several customers that were negotiating buying a second machine. Then when we launched the Beam Writer, and I'm happy about that, they said, okay, great. We don't have to spend 2 million. We can spend 170 or whatever and increase our throughput by 50%. So I think allowing our customers to protect their investments was in mind when we developed that. I think it's time. Yes, could have we done it a couple of years earlier? Probably.
Yeah, but sometimes. But honestly, Shlomo, sometimes it's just like, as you say, the simplest idea can be in front of your nose, and it's only when you realize that the potential is there that you develop it. So I just think it's great that you did it, and I just think it's something that customers should really understand, that the value of having that as an offline process compared to an inline process is actually bringing a lot of value to the table, especially if you are, let's say, also within the group of companies that you really target with both the C models and the folding carton models. So I just think it's wonderful. So the machines that are in field today, I guess that you carefully monitor the productivity of the machines and see how much they produce. Do you see any surprise in changes after people get them? Because I mean, when you do all the calculations and you figure out what kind of service the machine should do, I was just thinking that maybe sometimes when you look at the numbers, you see, they actually use it for a little bit bigger print runs than we thought of, or they make more complex dies than we expected, or these kind of things. What does the number say?
Right. I mean, it's never, when people buy for 2 reasons. Okay, they buy for freeing up capacity from analog to digital, so it's a lift and shift. That's how we call it. And the second reason, they have a vision, a long-term vision. They want to branch into new markets. We are trying to look for both. We're trying to sell to customers that have both capacity that is not being efficient on the analog. And for us, it's not about replacing analog. It's about really giving the customer a tool in the toolkit, which will allow them to channel the right job to the right tool or the right tool for the right job. And I can tell you that in many cases, although we close a deal based on an ROI that was done on existing job basket, what we find out in most cases that actually they realize that they can go to existing customers and offer them jobs that they couldn't offer before.
Okay, so it extends the customer base, basically.
It's basically creating new revenue from existing customers, for most of them, but also actually developing capabilities that don't exist on analog today. It's suspension packaging. I visited yesterday the box maker. It's all online. I'm not discovering any secrets, but it's just amazing to see what they're able to do. They're really changing the market in terms of the approach to packaging. And it's fascinating to watch. And of course, you have the large players like the Menasha of the world or the Western of the world that are really shifting volume from the analog to the digital because the market reality forces them to move to manufacturing on demand, to have shorter runs, to have MOQs, no MOQs. So all these dynamics, in my opinion, really drives the fact that we can talk today about mainstreaming digital die cutting.
So if we should shorten this, it basically tells me that it is, when you meet Hicon at Drupa this year, it is a Hicon with a higher level of confidence?
We never take anything for granted. We're certainly proud of what we've accomplished, but not everything is in our control. These mega deals that are happening in the marketplace, it's unclear how it's going to impact decision making. Although we're seeing, and I'll say that with being cautious, we're seeing some growth in the packaging market. It's yet to be seen that we're really out of the post-COVID impact, and we're starting to see growth again. So we're pretty much in the hands of those mega dynamics. And of course, as a young company, we're more vulnerable. And this is why we've teamed up with large players like the Sealed Air, C, and EHS. And there hopefully will be more down the road. And this is what a company like us that focus on technology need in order to scale.
And in that perspective, I also think that it's pretty smart that you involve, let's say, your customers in the development of the Vulcan, right? Because that basically is both a financial commitment, but also a commitment to deliver, let's say, insights for what technologies that they need in the future. And therefore you have a business model that you never have a business model that eliminates risk, but you have a business model that basically share the risk with more players, and that is always healthy if you can do that. And I guess that it also gives you let's say a good starting point getting Hicon back on track because you have the faith from really important players in the market right now.
No, absolutely. We do have 6 foundation customers for the Vulcan, and we did announce the Vulcan option program, which will offer 15 additional slots, which we're in the process right now. And this is, again, going to be part of the offerings that will be shared at Drupa. And we have some work to do to complete the development of the Vulcan. It's by no means ready for sale. We do have a prototype in Israel, but the plan is to have that part of our product offering in Drupa 2028.
Fantastic. And for the audience, I can say that we have actually a walkthrough of both the Beam 3 and the Vulcan on Inkish TV right now, and also in the last newsletter of Hicon I saw. So that is super great if you want to dig a little bit into what this is. Super interesting products, both of them, and something that you should definitely go to Shlomo and his team at Drupa to talk to them about. Shlomo, anything you want to add? Otherwise, it is about time to end this our last pre-Drupa event, and I think that you have been on quite a few of them. Have you been on all of them, or 3 of them? Yeah. We were we have been on quite a few at least, right? So we're getting to know each other.
I got used to it, and the only thing I have to say is really to express my appreciation to you and your team contribution to our industry. It's really this is how change is going to be created. So I think the more, the better, and it's an opportunity to extend special thanks to you on behalf of all of us at Hicon and to your wonderful team. And looking forward to see you in a couple of weeks.
I look forward to that too. And again, thank you very much for your kind words, Shlomo, and have a wonderful and productive and sellable couple of days in the US before going to Europe.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And with this, if I can figure out how to do this, we are done with our pre-Drupa event. And I thought I could do like this, but apparently can't figure out. Here I am. This is the last of our pre-Drupa event here, so I want to thank you very much. Being surprised, I never really take so serious about how many watches our things live, but I can see on the replays when we cut them up in episodes and people have time to watch them, it is a valuable, I hope it's a valuable contribution to your understanding of this industry, and we are very happy and honored that so many people are supporting what we do. I am pretty convinced that Drupa will be an eye-opener for a lot of people to see how much content we and our super content group partners are delivering to people. There was a guy writing, somebody wrote to me on LinkedIn this morning that it was a great program we did. And I said, yes, the program is great. And it's actually for, I teased a little bit, I joked a little bit, that it's for the 3 million people that are not from this industry, from our industry, that is not attending Drupa. We will do our best to bring something that is not a Drupa experience, but as good as it gets when it gets to film. And we hope the best way you can support us is basically watch it, like it, share it. That is that's the new economy of social media. So, well, thank you guys. And by that, thank you very much and see you soon.